some of them, they may be with the move on the regime, but most of them are not. And some of them are calling me now. See, Iranian can come to the mic and rock that mic. But when it's one of his relatives now, he wants to stand. He wants some sympathy when the rocket strikes and his little baby, his niece is hit by some shrapnel from the bombshell, and now she's hospitalized and will never be normal again. And they killed her fatality. She's not mentioning her fatality. You don't have the command because you got a vision. Doesn't mean you have the right to destroy human life, and it hits the innocent human life as well as those that may be that you are calling the enemy. We don't have that luxury. And that's a real talk for you right there. You won't set up over there unless you're here. And that's what's going on. And this would be so-called sand niggas that's falling. Then they will come for these niggas, those that are with me. And I'm saying to you that they gotta find a vilify the mentality. In order for the mentality to exist, they have to have a boogeyman and Osama bin Laden or Muammar Gaddafi kill the family. Don't you know it's a violation of international law to go around bragging that you killed the head of state? But we never think about that because we are owning the testicles in the Kool-Aid. That's a total violation of international law to go after the president or his family. Just think about doing that. I don't like them. Then I take my voice to go down. You'll say, oh, he's the worst president in the world. He killed Donald Trump. Or he killed one of these other presidents and went after their families. You can't see it until it hits home, is my point. You'll see it when it hits home. I believe it will come to eventually fight you in the ass for all international violations from Obama Clinton, from Trump Reagan, and it's just some real handwritings on the wall. But you are too blind by the dust and the smoke and the bombs to see a 10,000-pound gorilla and a 10,000-pound big elephant hanging upside down on your ceiling. And you want to blame the victims and say, I'm drug addict. You must have quit. Pick out the dog fit. You must have quit.
Let me ask you a question. Is there anyone here that is saying the regime is not a Has the regime changed? Is the regime
I wouldn't say not only is it intact, they are responding to what's happening to them in real time.
Well, let's hear what science. Trent is maybe going to take a position in the middle. Go ahead, Trent.
Yeah, I'll take a position somewhere in the middle. I won't say it's not intact. Obviously the communication, which they have been decimated at the top. There is who's running things and who's running what all over the country. So I would say it's a change.
And did you see the article in the Wall Street Journal about the U.S.'s stockpiles and its depletion because of what?
Yeah, I said that earlier. Yeah,
you did.
I said that.
So what happens if there's depletion and this is still going on in 3 months? So basically, I'm actually asking. What you're saying is you need to get it done and just get it done. So that's why we're overwhelming. Is that the point you were kind of making, like getting to get it done?
Yeah, you gotta take out all the missile sites, and it will. And I said it will open up an opening for China if they want to take Taiwan, which I don't want to go on that diversion. But there is significant use of the anti-aircraft material that will deplete. So that's why you got to take out all the missile sites now.
Yeah, I read this and I just pulled it back up. The U.S. has expended a lot of what they call magazine depth in these conflicts in the last year. It's actually been a lot. I know people were complaining about sending weapons to Ukraine, but it's a lot. It's a lot. Anyway, who's next in the queue?
There's no bad enough. They put a receipt in the gesture.
Well, thank you. God bless them. God blessings to you and yours. I hope you are having a nice summer.
Blessed likewise to you and your family. Thank you.
I appreciate it. I'm still, I don't know, man. I'm still, I have to say, listening and reading mag ads and hearing them here being against Ukraine, asking for help to defend their sovereignty. But like Trent said, Ukraine should surrender, but in this is, y'all just be all over the place. I don't know where you're going, so I'm going to be honest with you. It's totally insane. But that's a different story. But I'm just fascinated at what this will look like. So the idea is they'll take out the elite security forces. I already see they named one. And then all the people will, there'll be some strike, but not much. And then they'll reinstall this guy who hasn't been in the country because they're all monarchists, or at least a significant or critical mass. And then they'll have elections. And someone said, because you wrote it down on a paper. It's almost like Trevor said they would have elections. He's been to that discussion. Okay, so I look forward to it.
Just to I didn't say Ukraine should surrender everything. I said that they should make a deal and surrender some of the territory that they've lost in the Donbass and Crimea, because they're likely not going to get it back without expending. Likely not going to get it back without.
What's happening? Did you just hold up my
friend?
Did y'all hear that?
Stop trolling.
Yeah, I did.
He actually didn't say that. You don't know, sir. He said, "Hello, my friend, you idiot."
Me amiga.
No, my neighbor walked by and I said hello. So, but I lost. I appreciate whoever said that. Yeah, I know I didn't say my neighbor. Anyway, I lost my train of thought, so I'll just be quiet because I can't remember what I was talking about now.
You talk war to how to stabilize the government.
Oh yeah.
He was talking.
No, I was talking about
What he said. He said that Ukraine should. Exactly. Ukraine's, they've lost 300 to 400,000 soldiers and been fighting for 4 years. And so when I said that they should
breaking news, looks like 11 are reported, still at least 11 missing from the strike on, how do you pronounce it? Baichenesh. Basically 11 still, maybe not Chenya, 11 missing still, so maybe there could be more. All right, go ahead. That was breaking news. Go ahead.
So in the case of Ukraine, like it's a war of attrition. It obviously takes a lot of Ukrainian lives in order to try to free that. So I think that they should make a deal in order to save lives. That's where I'm coming from on that. My mom's calling me. I'll come right back.
No problem. Beit Shemesh means house of the sun. Beit is house. Thank you for that, Noel.
This is interesting.
It is my humble pleasure. So Bethlehem is Bethlehem. It is house of bread.
We just read it much in Arabic.
No, it's Hebrew. Hebrew came before. It came before. Hebrew comes before Arabic on the timeline.
They translate a lot.
Yeah, they're similar. Arabic is direct. If you know Hebrew, you can start to decipher Arabic. He told you, man.
You don't know Hebrew, so how are you going to tell them?
Crazy?
No. And you don't know. No, he's not. That's a prayer. That's not the letter.
That's scripted.
Exactly.
You memorize Hebrew. I don't German. I don't know what the
Would you like more lessons? Anybody want another lesson? So, okay, so the first, yes, I'll give it to you. So, thank you. I'm
sorry. You don't want to learn? Okay.
No.
I'll go learn with somebody who's a real Jew. You're a fake Jew, though. You can stay ignorant. You know what? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't.
I'm not a horse. I'm a human.
Then stop acting like one.
Well, stop acting like a monkey, bitch. How about that?
I'm acting like a Jew, brother.
You're acting like a monkey.
No, I'm not. Listen, Black History Month is over. No more.
You're acting like a heathen.
Say that in Hebrew. Black History Month. Say that in Hebrew. Say all that in Hebrew. Say everything you just said in Hebrew.
They walked over, and Hurricane said he didn't want to learn anymore.
Why would I want to learn you and say that in Hebrew? That I'm a
Can you say
Christian.
that in Hebrew?
Why would I want to learn that shit?
Because it's the basis of your religion.
Oh, you don't want to go there with me, because we'll start talking about
We're already there. We're too late for that.
You don't want to go
We're
there.
already there. It's the basis of your religion, you know.
No, you don't want to go there with me.
I'm already there.
No, it's not the basis for shit.
Go ahead. The basis for Christianity. No. Okay. Stick your finger in here. You see? You see? Somebody, I touched a nerve.
It's not the basis for shit.
Well, it's the basis for your religion.
It's not.
No, you worship a Jew, my brother.
Oh, so now Jesus is
100%.
for confessing the truth.
Of course, Jesus is a Jew, and you know it, and I know it. Blessings upon him.
And he wasn't a Zionist.
Well, of course he was. He was actually from Israel. You don't get more Zionist. We don't know what Zion means. Zion means Jerusalem. Who went to
Then
Jerusalem?
you're not a Zionist.
Of
So
course
I'm not
I am.
from Israel.
I didn't say
You're
you're
not
not
from Israel.
because I'm from New York. A Zionist believes in the right of the Jewish people to live safely and securely in our homeland. I believe that. You should too. In fact, I think you probably do. The eternal capital of which is, wait for it, Jerusalem. If you forget me, let my right man forget what?
What other groups have that? What other groups have that?
Have what?
The right to like live in particular places based off of their ancestral biblical heritage or religious heritage.
Well, you mean based on their indigeneity?
Yeah.
Most people in the world. Almost everybody.
Then we should all go back to Africa then, dumbass.
For example, a good point. 7 African countries have the right of return, as do the Jews. Yes. France, England, Ireland, Italy, all have the right of return. Poland has the right of return.
Okay,
Beg your pardon? That's your point.
No, it's not my point.
Oh, what's your point?
Who has to do the United? What is the United States?
The United States has a different set of laws. The United States will accept anybody who becomes a citizen.
I'm not talking about the laws.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Rights that predate laws.
This right is a law. The right of return
It's
is
a
a law.
political thing. It's a political thing.
It is man's law and God's law. And I urge you not to violate either.
Okay, well, I don't care about
Well,
Congress.
that's not going into the book that you point to.
Listen,
I do.
so Native Americans,
Maybe we should go back to Genesis already.
Native Americans have a right to this land based on their God's law.
Yes, they deserve to stay here. Absolutely. There's no reason for them to leave. Absolutely.
Okay, so it was wrong for them to be genocided.
I'm not a supporter of what happened when your people and my people.
I'm just asking.
I'm trying to answer.
No, don't talk about my people. My
Why
people
not?
are from New Jersey. But just keep going.
Okay, mine are from New York. And when our people fought the Indians, it was
My
not
dad
bad.
didn't fight the Indians.
Of course they did.
No, they didn't.
You know your own history? Of course they did.
Which one of my people fought the Indians?
Your American ancestors and mine together fought the Indians.
My people. Those
Of
ones.
course it is. Of course it is.
That's not. I was not referring to my people. So yeah, so they have a right to the land. They have a right.
Yes, they have a right to remain in America, 100%.
And they should have, and so they shouldn't be on reservations and stuff. We should.
That's up to them. We can negotiate any deal they want.
On the reservation system.
I wasn't around then. I can't take you.
Oh, that's fascinating. So you can know things about Jesus. I love
Yes.
So when Jesus fled, were you around? I know you're old. Were you around when Jesus was around?
Not that old. Hurricane is that old.
So you were around
point after that.
All right,
But
so
everything was there.
you're allowed to make points about Jesus.
Why not? Why not? He was a Jew.
Listen to what I'm saying. Let me finish.
Yeah.
Even though you weren't around, but on these other questions, your excuse is I wasn't around, so you don't have comment.
I'm not informed on that. I just don't get back to you.
Move on. Gotcha.
Okay, fair enough.
So you're not fair. So you're not informed about your homeland. Or wait, which one?
You know what? By the way, you may consider part of Africa your homeland as well
Why
as
do you keep
America.
going to Africa? I don't know.
Because I'm
really.
Do you know what a diaspora is, Dan?
I'm not from the diaspora. We were enslaved.
Yeah,
That means your life here was a diaspora. You are outside of your homeland.
It doesn't. That's not how I understand it. But let me
Explain to me how you understand it.
Well, I don't know what my homeland is. So unlike, we're not able to.
We'll talk to the
brothers from Poland.
That doesn't tell you where it's from. Skip Gates he can't tell you that.
Sure he can.
No, he can't.
Well, I'm just giving you
Everybody's admixture and where exactly where they came from. Let me just continue. So, let me just, for people going,
We all know
the ancestors in the Buffalo Soldiers. All black people don't descend from Buffalo Soldiers. I'm talking about in the chat. Let's keep going. So, let me keep going. So, indigenous, right? So, this is fascinating. So,
Good.
Yeah, it's good. So, so this is true for every group, and it's based off of indigeneity.
I don't know every group to speak to every group, but the ones that we've discussed so far, I can say yes. By the way, it's a universal right that is recognized by the United Nations that people have a right to indigeneity, absolutely. And to sovereignty in their indigenous homelands, absolutely.
No, you're lying.
You know, not to the United States. You stop it. We're talking to Ben. We're talking to Ben.
Literally lied.
You stop it. No, I didn't lie.
Just talking out your ass.
No, I'm not talking. We're having a high-level conversation.
No, you're not. You're fucking bullshitter.
We actually.
You're just a bullshitter. You lied about England. You do not have the right to return to England. You do not.
I didn't.
No, you don't.
I bet you don't.
Google it. Google it, dude. You know what Google is?
Oh my God! Now it's Google.
You're just a professional bullshitter, dude. You're
Incorrect.
You just talk out there. You don't know shit.
Sorry, 7 African countries.
England does not have a right to return.
I can't speak to England. I can
You
tell.
literally said England, though.
I can speak to Spain.
What you're talking about.
Calm down. I know you're upset.
Wait, I can't hear you. Jeffrey Epstein's dick is
Yes, Fran. No, Jeffrey Epstein is dead. That's your department now.
No, you haven't been with yourself, even Jim.
Necrophilia is your specialty, not mine. So, just for
Getting down Palestinian babies are your fucking
No, we kill terrorists.
No, babies aren't terrorists, dude.
I heard you know they're not.
I heard you guys eat them.
Wait a minute, time out.
So, we done that.
I got a real question for you.
Good. Is this Jackie?
No, this is Brooklyn.
What's up?
And you said, Black History Month is over.
Yeah, it is.
No more monkey talk. What did you
That's right.
mean?
What I meant was that I heard people calling black folks monkeys, and I was sick of it.
So what?
Any more questions?
Oh, you just outright racist.
Any more questions?
Dad.
That's racist? I said no more. You want more?
You just see how he treats the black Jews in this community. He treats them like shit.
I'm good with that.
No, you don't.
Actually, you did. You actually stole
Actually, he did a fundraiser a couple years ago and he stole a lot of money from some high Jews.
He was actually accused of that.
What's that now?
Fuck you, bitch.
Why is that?
Sam looking motherfucker.
He was actually accused of...
Everybody's gone.
And everybody look at my picture here. This is an Epstein file.
Jewish community of black Jews because he was doing a fake fundraiser and he stole $75,000 from them.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I just want you to know that
Yes.
you went too far. That was just too much for her.
Okay.
You have definitely shown.
Everyone look at my picture. El Normal was first. Epstein.
That was
You
far.
should have been in the room. You should have been in the room. You should have been in the room.
Say some shit like that.
I said no more calling black folks.
I heard you. I just want you to
So how many 14-year-olds did you fuck with Epstein?
I'm not in the 14-year-olds.
Yeah, Mike, why you have pictures with Epstein for?
No, my sweet spot is actually 40.
Why did you have pictures with Epstein?
I don't.
Did you hear
Yeah, why I have the picture?
He still likes to be younger. Y'all heard that, right? Okay.
I heard it.
You like someone else said that.
No, I like
He also likes the foreskin. He also likes the foreskin like his rabbi.
my sweet spot is about 45.
You're in prison. You need to go to jail more. Did you
No,
know
I
that?
don't.
You need to go to prison. And you don't
resistance. Is that bitch for real?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. He was exposed. He did a Ponzi scheme. This is what he was accused. He got terminated from his high school that he used to work for. Tell him about that, Marshall. Tell him how you got terminated from the high school you were at.
Enough. I got breaking news. So this is all right. Here we go. Everybody got their yayas out. This is like what Bhakti writes about on the carnival. You have to let the savages release it and let it out. And when they release it and let it out, all their transgressive energies are done. And then you can bring them back in and have order. So you have a moment of anti-structure, which actually reinforces structure. Shout out to Victor Turner and the cultural anthropologists from the 60s and 70s. But I'm done. Anyway, this is a report on Fox News. The guy had a property of Allah shirt. This is the shooting in Austin. The T had property of Allah on it. And underneath the shirt, he had another shirt with an Iranian flag.
What?
Should I say it again? Let me say it again. The man had a shirt, according to reports, that said property of Allah on it. Are you familiar with Allah?
I saw the shirt online. It's everywhere.
Yes. And then there's reporting that underneath the shirt, his t-shirt had an Iran flag on it.
Mm-hmm. It's giving sleeper cell.
Let me say it again. For everybody, I remember this is the NG who tells us we should be celebrating as the war's won. 3 Americans dead in America. 3 dead in America. Not like, God bless them. 3 dead in America. In her state, by the way. 14 or whatever number injured. He had on a shirt that said property of Allah. According to reports, there may have been a Quran in the car. And under the shirt, he had another shirt. Some people call it a t-shirt, but you really shouldn't call it a t-shirt because a t-shirt is a particular kind of shirt in the shape of a T. There is also something called an A shirt. An A shirt is what some of you love to call a wife beater, but they're both kinds of undershirts. So what I'm going to say is an undershirt. An undershirt that had on it the flag of Iran.
Correct. 6 dead Americans now.
Bring home in the United States.
I'm sure more.
So like Notorious and Nat Cool and all the others and NG and the others who said it's all done. And Michael and Trent.
Yeah.
I was in Austin, Texas, Mars. Austin, Texas. At a bar. This is true. This is a full-on terrorist attack.
They said it is a terrorist attack. The FBI treated it as such.
Let me say it again. It was an attack in a bar. And Texas being a big state, Austin being the capital city of said state, they had a university there. The university is UT Austin. There was a man, a black Muslim from Senegal. And it's being reported, the FBI is investigating a mass shooting in Texas that killed 3 people and injured 14 others as an act of terrorism. Fox News' Harris Faulkner reported the outlet confirmed the shooter was a naturalized citizen from Senegal. So he was naturalized. He was a citizen.
More Islamic terror? I am shocked. I'm shocked.
Well, this is what happens. It's going to be more and more because of what they did in Iran.
Actually, it's American terrorism. Domestic terrorism.
They're not responsible for their Islamic terror? There was no
domestic terrorist. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that one can make a situation worse and you can't do a thing and not think and be prepared for consequences. I'm not saying the United States is responsible. You can do the sarcasm thing on the nitwits. I'm not a nitwit. Let me continue reading. Sources are telling Fox News that the shooter was wearing clothing that said Allah on it, and he had on an undershirt with an Iranian flag. There's a picture of him that's all over. You can see what he looks like. It says property of Allah. He was a 53-year-old man.
Dang, 53.
I think we agree.
This is what happens when you take out leave. You create a American terrorism.
Sadly, we had Islamic terrorism before the
It
war.
happened everywhere.
Real conversation with the unserious person.
Exactly. He's a pedophile. El Pena.
Fair.
El Pena.
Oh, no. Oh, I see what you did. That's great. So let me clear this up for the dummies. Matt Cool and anybody else. I'm not the things that Neo do, since you got the all now neocons, helps to create situations whereby people pop off like this. There's going to be somebody who's 8 years old. You'll hear about him in about 11, 12 years. He's going to blow something up. So if these are the noble sacrifices that, what's his name said? Lindsey Graham says, fine. The other thing which is fascinating is how come the FBI didn't get him? So so that we have a terror attack on American soil. This is on the Trump administration. Trump is not keeping Americans safe.
Yeah, what was
Islamic terror attacks on Americans. So we had 9/11.
We have a lot of Jewish terrorism.
Again, I know it's from the Saudis. Mostly from Saudi Arabia, not from mostly. That's correct. And Bush didn't keep Americans safe. Correct.
Our wonderful ally.
This is all pattern
And it was Lucky Silverstein who put the $1 billion insurance there on 9/11. He just happened to not be there the one day.
Racism is a terrible disease. It's
The Jews.
You people, many people are going around calling, the terrorists are the leftists and the terrorists, what they called Renee Good. They called Renee Good a terrorist.
I'm not sure that fits this conversation.
It does.
It does, because I watered down what a terrorist is.
Was he Muslim?
It's like America, anything.
Oh, she was Jewish. She was an Israeli spy, like your mom.
America's perception of terror.
Yeah, it was the Jews that was watching 9/11, the Mossad agents, and they admitted to the FBI they were here to, videotape the attack.
Standing on top of their van and recording like
The
Jews.
Israeli Jews.
Yes, everybody I know who had a camera recorded it.
And
Were they all on the spot?
why did they tell the FBI that they were here to record the actual event?
They were standing on the van recording
The
it.
Jews, Israeli Mossad spies.
Everybody who had a camera recorded it.
Calm down. Jihad, which leftists have sided with the jihadists? Break that, just give us a couple names.
Well, historically, that's how Iran was overthrown and the IRGC took power, because the communists and leftists joined forces with the Islamists. And I'm just very surprised.
I thought you meant today. You meant in 79 or today?
No, even today, as we speak.
Yeah, which leftists have joined forces with the
Oh,
jihad?
you mean, the leftists have been protesting for the past 2 years that are pro-Hamas.
Like whom?
Leftists.
Figures the Jews committing genocide.
Have you gotten out of the country and not been in any big cities? The ones that shut down the bridges?
Oh, I got it. So if you participated in like a Free Palestine protest, as they called it, you're siding with the jihadis, like the guy today that killed people. That's what it was.
Look, stop gaslighting and being.
I'm asking.
No, being
resistance. You're off team resistance.
I'm tired.
Hold on, G. You're about to get booted again. I brought you up to ask you a question.
You're not being honest.
I brought you up to ask you a question.
If anything, I
brought you up to ask a question.
We have an Islamist problem.
Okay. So the people who were protesting on college campuses, for example, you're saying they are on the side of the guy. Let me answer the question. There are other people listening, bro. Let me ask the question. You may know what I'm going to ask. Let me see the question out for people listening. There's like 100 people in here. Damn, man. 200 people in here. So are you saying that the people who who were, UCLA campus, Columbia, whatever, you're a junior or whatever, they're on the side of the guy who shot up the bar in Austin? Is that what you're saying?
To give a favorite quote of yours, they're good people on both sides, of course. But there's also yes.
It's a yes or no question.
I'm answering your question. Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you. That's it. That's all I was asking. I don't know argue. Okay, who's next in the queue? I don't know why y'all think I want to argue. I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, many of those people are Jews. And many of those people are Jews, so they're
resistance. I'm trying to understand what you understand. I'm trying to. The reason why is, hold on, bro.
You're denying.
Hold on, because when you said leftist, hold on, man, you're ruining the space. When you said leftist, you didn't say the people protesting at first. You just said leftist. So if I'm a leftist and I didn't protest, I want to know who you were talking about. You just gave me the specifics. That's all. Calm down.
All right,
I don't want to fight you.
But now I know
It's really
for 10 minutes about this Austin guys being a consequence of our actions in Iran.
It is.
And I completely disagree with that. It's not a consequence of anything. It's actually the objective of the Islamists and the jihadists.
It is.
That's the objective.
Railing propaganda.
It is a symptom of the disease of jihadism. Again, so these things are not like isolated. I can agree with you all that there is an issue. It's in Sahel, it's in West Africa, it's in the Middle East. I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with that either. But what I'm saying is that we have to expect consequences, especially in the midst of a hot war. That's all. I don't know why y'all think.
Well, look,
it's not a one-sided. Why do I have to be cut off? I'm trying to run a cool space where everybody chill, and I'm letting people say, why can't I get my IG on?
Look, you're right. It is a consequence.
Can I just finish my point?
It's coming anyway, whether you like it or not. We want to stop it sooner than later.
Never mind.
Let's just kill all the Muslims. Is that what you want? Let's just round them up and kill them.
Don't ask that question. Not to them.
No, I want to know.
What they're asking.
And we're I want them to know how you feel. You want no one actually solving anything. How is
We don't want no more Jewish supremacy.
I've been at Supreme.
And Jewish terrorism. No more Jewish terrorism.
Give me a second. Hey, give me a second. Ben, did we have a chance to listen to Oman's foreign minister on Face the Nation? Maybe that could be a reset. This happened before the war started on February 28, 27. He seems to have came to the United States on face of news that Oman was doing the mediation, right? So the guy is familiar with the state of negotiations, and it could be a good reason.
Iran attacked Oman yesterday, correct? Explain that.
This is also before United States and Israel.
Just fighting, man.
Before Iran attacked Oman, Bahrain, Saudi, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Kuwait, Jordan.
Oh, shut up. They were attacked, and then they attacked. I mean, it's so bizarre. You're not saying anything. They were attacked. They were attacked first. And so responded in the way they said they were going to respond. We know, Norm, we're all following the news. You don't have any inside information. You might have an old friend who you had coffee with at the Times, but we all saw it. Can you just play the video?
The Arab has their own Arab Muslim brothers on
They're not brothers. They're Muslim. Flying it.
No,
You know, Miriam, just stay on mute. Let him play the clip. You got, oh my God, you guys are assholes. The boy is going to play the clip. You can respond to the clip after. You guys are really being assholes. I'll be honest with you. Just let the boy play the clip. Hang on. Go ahead, play the clip.
And in a second, the boy is playing the clip.
Come on, man.
Jeffrey,
come on. What's going on?
Don't let him get you out, man. Calm down, man.
Oh no, I'm calm. Believe me, I'm calm. This is part of my. I'm a master of tones. But it is kind of weird. Like, can we, like, especially when like serious stuff is happening, can we put the like pre-serious stuff, banging and ignorance and insults to the side for like a couple of hours at least? Is that impossible?
Well, you brought the kids out here.
Garden's room and respect it. Why don't y'all respect Patty's room like y'all do? You know, because he shuts the chat out. Maybe that's what it is. Doesn't let people on stage.
And he doesn't put us like a
Garden. Him and them 4 people say the same shit. They say the same shit for 5 years. When I have a problem going to sleep, taking a midday nap, I would listen to Barry Baumgartner's room. Go ahead, you got the clip.
And joining me now is the Foreign Minister of Oman, Badr al-Zaidi, who is the mediator negotiating a nuclear deal between the United States and Iran. Welcome to Face the Nation.
Thank you.
So President Trump said Friday he's not happy with the way talks are going and not happy that they're not willing to give us what we have to have. From your point of view, is diplomacy failing?
I am confident, and in my assessment of the way the talks are going, I think there is really, I can see that the peace deal is within our reach.
A peace deal?
Yes, it is within our reach if we just allow diplomacy the space it needs to get there. Because I don't think any alternative to diplomacy is going to solve this problem.
When you say space, does that mean you are asking for more time to continue negotiations?
I am asking to continue this process because we have already achieved quite a substantial progress in the direction of a deal. And the heart of the deal is very important, and I think we have captured that heart.
When you say the heart of it, Iran has said this has to be nuclear only. What have you actually agreed upon? Can you give us any sense of why there should be more time?
Because if the ultimate objective is to ensure forever that Iran cannot have a nuclear bomb, I think we have cracked that problem through these negotiations by agreeing a very important breakthrough that has never been achieved any time before. And I think if we can capture that and build on it, I think a deal is within our reach.
What has Iran agreed to you that they have never done before? Can you give us a sense?
The single most important achievement, I believe, is the agreement that Iran will never ever have a nuclear material that will create a bomb. And this is, I think, a big achievement. This is something that is not in the enrichment argument less relevant, because now we are talking about zero stockpiling. And that is very, very important, because if you cannot stockpile material that is enriched, then there is no way you can actually create a bomb with of the enrich. And I think this is really something that has been missed a lot by the media, and I want to clarify that from the standpoint of a mediator.
So explain that. So the enriched material, the things that could be used as nuclear fuel for a bomb, you're saying Iran would not keep on their own soil?
They would give it up.
They would give it up?
They will not be able to actually accumulate that material that will enable them to create a bomb.
Where would that
accumulation? So there will be zero accumulation, zero stockpiling, and full verification. That is also equally important achievement, I think, a full and comprehensive verification by the IAEA, which is the agency in charge of this file.
The UN nuclear watchdog. So you're saying all enriched material will be shipped someplace else, not Russia, but
the current stockpiles that still exist.
The things that are still in Iran.
I think that there is agreement now that this will be downloaded to the lowest level possible, to a neutral level, a natural level, which means and converted into fuel, and that fuel will be irreversible.
That would be significant if Iran
is significant. It is very significant, and I think we have agreement on that, in my view.
In your view?
Yes.
Because today, CBS confirmed a confidential report from the IAEA says inspectors report seeing Iran conducting regular activity at bombed uranium enrichment sites, but Iran has refused to tell us what has happened to their stockpile. They have refused to allow UN inspectors in to look at it. Are you telling me that inspectors would be given access to these sites, like at Isfahan?
If there is a deal, an agreed deal, there will be full access.
Iran has offered that?
Yes.
So who would these inspectors be? UN? IAEA?
IAEA. But I think, there is room also, if there is a deal in place, I am quite confident from my point of view that even United States inspectors will have access at some point in the process if we have a deal that is respected and fair and endurable. I see no reason why there is no access to be given even to the United States itself.
So this was 5 minutes. The whole thing is 20 minutes. Do we want to discuss?
I think this is really terrific. We've learned a lot from this. Number one, we've learned that they do indeed have nuclear stockpiles. In case any of you were wondering about that, they've just admitted it. Number two, we've also heard that they refuse to discuss the other two big issues which Trump laid out. Number one, ballistic missiles, which Trump says they refuse to discuss, and this man confirms that this is not on offer or part of the deal. And number two, to stop sponsoring terror through proxies. So you can see our casus belli, or cause of war, is justified just from this excellent interview you played, Neo, from the excellent Oman ambassador or diplomat. By the way, the Omanis are wonderful people, and it's baffling to me that the Iranian terror regime attacked Oman yesterday, as well as their other Muslim brothers, on Ramadan. It's just mind-bogglingly evil. Go ahead, anybody else?
So, Neil, when I talk about, why are you bringing up the rhetoric is in the grandstanding, right? This is not a speech in the Knesset. Calm down, Dawn. I used to hear all that.
Well, I've never been in that accident.
I was astounded. I'm full of fucking fuck attached. Come on, man, just talk like a regular person.
Hey, man, I love it.
Come on, no,
You want to mock my feelings? I can mock yours.
Why don't you turn your own style?
You want me to mock you? I can mock you.
It's the cocaine abuse.
You call me a nigger again like you've done before?
Never have in my life, and you know. You never would. Never in my life. putting your nose in the middle, Neo.
That's also a guy who suggested couldn't speak English.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, I did. I mocked him the way you just mocked me. So you get your own medicine.
Wait, you mocked him?
So I get his medicine? Why do I get his
For
medicine?
you, man, and it's good enough for me.
That's how they
That is the Jewish methodology. That's how they think. The Jew.
Well, I lied about the N-word because you had nothing else but lies in your head.
This is how Zionists argue.
The Jew says all the goyim must pay.
How do we argue?
You attack first, and then the other person attacks, then you act like the fucking victim.
It was stunning.
I was the
Go ahead. Just like you just said, no more monkeys on Black History Month. Also very disgusting. And if Brooklyn asking you to explain it, for you to explain it, then you can give explanation.
And I did.
Go ahead, Neil. That's coming from a caveman Jew. That was gross too. That was also gross.
He's not a Jew.
He's just all monkeys.
Please don't.
Yes, someone called.
That's not what you said. You said no more monkeys. Go ahead.
Okay. So I brought it up to just, I think the Omani negotiator speaks to the state of the negotiation. I think it is not covered because the fact that Trump could have had a better deal than Obama on the table, right? That thing seems to be missed from the media coverage, at least outside of this interview. I haven't heard it elsewhere, right? So the Omani negotiator said nothing about ballistic missiles program.
That's the problem.
Well, not saying anything doesn't mean there couldn't, first of all, there's 15 minutes. We want to hear the rest of it. Maybe he says something about it. He didn't say they don't want to do it. He didn't say anything on the topic.
That's because it's not what they agreed to. No, shut the fuck up, bro.
Okay.
The interviewer asked, what did they agree to? The ex-Omani foreign representative answered what they agreed to, and in so doing, admitted what Trump charged them with, which was having a nuclear stockpile that was not for civilian use. I mean, it's a very revealing interview. I'm glad you played it. And the ballistic missiles and the tunnel property were not offered.
That interview does not prove any of that. One person.
Is Neoliberal done, guys? Has he finished his explanation?
He's been done since he began speaking. He doesn't know what he's fucking talking about. He's just a propaganda.
Listen to the nuclear stockpile.
Well, he's actually not done.
I'm sorry, did we learn about the nuclear stockpiles from the Omani negotiator? What did Trump bomb? I'm sorry, did we just hear discover that Iran has nuclear stockpiles?
And Isfahan.
Did we need to the Omani negotiator to confirm that they have nuclear stockpiles? Is that news to anybody?
I think it's wonderful confirmation that you offer, and I appreciate it.
You needed Omani negotiator to confirm that they have nuclear stockpiles?
To those of you who did not know that Iran was trying to make
Who did know? Did you? Was that the new information that they have nuclear stockpiles?
Earlier, people claimed that this was like Bush saying that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. We've just heard that they have nuclear stockpiles. Bad news, man.
Okay. I'm sorry, what did the Trump administration bomb previously?
I just listed them for you. Do you need me to list them again? Qom, Isfahan, Photo.
Okay, so that were nuclear stockpiles.
No. Those are nuclear development sites.
That contain nuclear stockpiles.
I think they moved them nuclear stockpiles, neoliberal.
Okay, so didn't he just say that there's IAEA reported that there is an activity, they don't know what type of activity, at the sites that they have bombed?
Well, presumably the IAEA is not monitoring soccer games. So the activity, apparently, which Iran refuses to let the IAEA inspect, go explain that one, is again a concern, which is why they were bombed.
I agree that it's a concern. That's why the guy is saying that there is a deal on the table, right, that would de-risk all of those things. question for you. My point, do you agree that it's a better deal than Obama's deal?
I beg
Do
your
you
pardon?
agree that it would be a better deal than Obama's deal?
Absolutely not. Obama's deal.
Explain that.
Because the ask is ballistic missiles and terrorist bombs.
Obama's deal didn't have ballistic missiles.
So you're comparing shit to shit? That's not good enough. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm asking you a relative question. Which deal is better, Obama's deal or the deal that this guy said is on the table?
And what I'm answering you is, it's insufficient, my brother.
I'm not asking you about sufficiency. I'm asking about relative comparisons of the two deals.
Because apparently you're not getting my message.
I'm not interested in your message at all. I'm interested whether you are able to compare two things.
Yes, I'm able. So you understand why we went
Which
to
one
war?
is better?
So you understand why we went to war, neoliberal?
And I can answer the question, which deal is better?
I answered that already. Do you understand why we went to war?
He can't do it. He's on cocaine.
I'm finished. No,
I don't know which deal is better on the relative comparison.
Okay, neoliberal. Do you understand why we went to war or not? If you don't, I'll tell you again.
No. Why are you answering my question with a question? Can you just answer your question first and then I can answer your
You're
question?
trying to avoid the reason for this war and it's not working.
And Norma, I can't avoid anything when you are doing your question.
If you're not avoiding it, let's discuss it.
Norma, the only person that's already answering a very simple question is you.
I
Why are you asking the questions?
The nuclear
Proceed with your answer.
and we're not in war. We're at war. The nuclear stockpiles are a problem. As the Omani representative, a wonderful country, by the way, and wonderful people, pointed out. Why do they still have them? Not good. The ballistic missiles are a problem.
You answer my question, which deal is better?
Yes. Both deals are insufficient. Listen carefully. The
Okay,
deals
they are insufficient. I got your point. I understand your point.
Do you agree with me?
Better.
Hang on. Do you agree with me?
They can both be insufficient for you. Which one is better?
Well, are they insufficient for you?
No, but I don't care. Like, I'm not judging there. I don't decide on what deal is sufficient or
You're capable of deciding which deal is okay, I'll decide for you. I'll for you. Those deals.
Okay, before you decide it, can you answer which one is better?
Both deals are insufficient, Neo. I dispute the premise. I dispute the premise of your question.
All right, neoliberal, I can't take it. I can't take it.
Good. Yeah, I know. Like,
That's why we can talk. I can't. You just vortex yourself and let Norm break you for 10 minutes.
It was a pleasure. The opportunity.
What the hell? Seven, you're off mute. Did you want to talk or did you do that on purpose? Flush the toilet.
Oh, sorry, I was taking a shit, but I was saying that we're not in war.
Go ahead. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I wanted to just say that first thing, we're not in war. Okay, that's first thing. Second, we're not there. It's not a democracy.
We're not in war.
And this country's not a democracy, it's a federal republic.
Second, bro. Hold on.
Wait,
I said
hold on.
we're not at war.
No, we're not at war. I was in the military for 25 years. No, they're not in war.
Okay, cool. All right, keep going.
Are you washing your hands?
He hasn't washed them.
No, he ain't.
He took a shit. Why is that?
That's what the Jews do. And then went straight to the phone to
I'm not borrowing
That
that
shit all over his phone. Got it. Fucking nasty, bro. Go ahead. Since you were in the military for 20 years, they taught you how to shit.
To take the shit out your ear, I said 25 years.
Fucking nasty. It's also wash your hands, bro. Wash your hands. You got shit all over your house.
It's what the Jews do.
I'm still shitting, bro.
Oh, okay. But go ahead, tell us how it happens.
He's shitting when he speaks.
So it's not a war, what is it?
This would be called a conflict, sir. There's a difference between a war and a conflict. But
Break down the difference.
it's just the thing, to break down the difference is when you declare war, you need to have Congress in order to do it. It's not a war. It's not a war, it's a conflict. It's just like
So we weren't at war in Afghanistan?
what was that? No, we weren't.
Afghanistan.
No, we weren't at war, sir.
Okay. So you're only in a war if Congress declares war.
Yeah, no, I'm just giving you just facts, or I mean, just receipts. Just like this is not a whole democracy. This is not a democracy. The word democracy is not even in the Constitution.
Say democracy.
You guys,
calm down.
No,
All right, bro, you gotta calm down. The cocaine and the PTSD is insane. Just the fuck thing is his cocaine from the hospital. Calm down. So the last time Congress declared war, was it Korea? I think it might have been Korea. It's been a while. So you're saying
No, Korea was actually a police action, believe it or not. Technically, we're still World War II.
The last time Congress declared war, was actually World War II. So you're saying the U.S. has not been at war since the 1940s?
Yes.
All right, cool. Who's next in the queue?
Imagine someone
It's all down to the grade of the Jew.
It's just this who's next. Just ask people basic questions, and then when they answer like that, just move. Just keep it.
Have you talked about the mass stabbing in Virginia?
The what? Wait, what?
There was several people stabbed and shots fired on the outlets of 495 Little Rock Turnpike in Annandale, Virginia. The suspect is down. Shots fired by Virginia police. At least 4 victims have been stabbed. 2 are reported critical condition. Fairfax County is assisted.
But is that related?
I would say so. A stabbing problem.
Oh, at the ICE facility? No. Put it in the chat.
No, is it Islamic terror? I would say possible.
It's too soon to assume anything, dude. Let them fucking do research. Why are you even saying anything?
You obviously don't come here often. That's
I've been here for 6 years. Shut the fuck up.
what are you talking about?
This is from 3 days ago.
Wait, days ago. Don't disrespect his son.
Peter needs a break. Peter needs a break.
Patty on break. So Trent, you sure this is real? I just Googled. Sorry, brother. I just Googled and I'm seeing something from 3 days ago in Fairfax, Virginia. I don't see anything now. Put a link for us, brother.
Sometimes people do things that are older or false off. I'll go back and check. Sorry about that. If it is old.
The 3 dead soldiers, by the way, I don't know if anybody saw it. They were in Kuwait. I don't know if people saw that, but they were in Kuwait. U.S. soldiers that they killed. They were attacked. They were killed in Kuwait.
Has anybody been hurt in Dubai? I know they've been shot. Do y'all know if anybody was hurt there?
Hang on, this is breaking. Now, this is new. It's multiple stabbings on 495 near Washington, D.C. At least 4 people have been stabbed, and the suspect is down. So no, this it just happened. I was happening to be looking at it.
Just the name and everything.
Post it. Because we can start to do it when we talk about it.
He said that this morning about the one in Austin. I mean, it's possible. Y'all I know y'all like Trent, but no, it's not.
Not that it's obvious on the scene.
We have mass shootings every day, though. That's the problem with this, is that we have mass shootings, mass gatherings, mass truck driving. It doesn't matter. There's mass killings happening
Peter, shut the fuck up.
No, you shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Trent is right. I'm seeing the same thing and I posted it just now.
No, but
Lord.
So nobody's
Guys are speaking too soon about it, though. That's the problem. Yes, but like, dude.
When someone up top speaks, y'all gotta chill, man. I know Ben is sick of fuck of y'all right now. Cause half the shit y'all told me is a bunch of bullshit. Let's talk about the news. Trent brought some news. Lord confirmed it. And this this is what we do around here. All this, you jump into conclusion. You can't jump to a conclusion on a news story. We just found out about the shit. This is what we do. Somebody brings something, we all go looking for it to see what's going on, and we talk about it. Rinse and repeat. What's the problem today? Let's go.
I'm confused.
And I'm tired of people talking over me. I've been very respectful and listened to a lot of people. Can I please say something for 2 seconds?
Brother. Let's go, brother.
All I was saying, I was not disagreeing or pushing back with anything that Trent was saying. All I was saying is I was trying to get context. There was a conversation that we were having that he brought in, breaking news. I thought it was directly connected to the thing that we were just talking about. It may or may not be. I was just wanted to ask, where's the source? And was there a connection that we know about? If we don't know, that's fine. But it was just in the throes of the conversation that we were already having. So I was just trying to get some more context.
I wasn't talking to you. Me and you good. People saying stuff. Yeah, no, you good, brother. It's just the other side comments, they know who they are. Like throwing us off. You good, brother. I mean, who knows? Everybody's flipping out right now. Not in this room, in this world. There's a lot happening. Some people are gung-ho about it, and a lot of people are not gung-ho about it. People upset with losing soldiers. People, I don't know. Some people said they didn't vote for this. They're having buyer's remorse. Others are coming in here with their agenda because they're from the region. This is what it is. But let's keep the conversation going.
Maybe we should pray for the people in the GCC and the Americans and the Israelis who are under fire right now getting bombed. Maybe we should pray for them.
So I'd like to go back to the interview you played with the foreign minister. Yeah, some of the things he said is similar to what the Iranian foreign minister said. The Iranian foreign minister spoke to MSNBC now. He said that, we were already reaching an agreement. And he spoke of the same thing, that on Thursday we were reaching an agreement, and this is where we reached to, and we agreed to lower our enrichment, and we agreed to all the terms. Essentially, it was very similar to what, I can't state word for word, but very similar to what Oman was saying. And they said, we believe we got somewhere. And all of a sudden, America decided to attack. And had an agreement in place. And he said, if America is serious, we are willing to go back and completing that agreement. But they have to stop attacking us.
Yes, and by the way, on the ballistic missiles, again, according to the minister, he was asked, that will Iran negotiate about its ballistic missiles? And the answer was, I believe Iran is open to discuss everything, including ballistic missiles, because they said this part of the talk has to do with the nuclear stuff, and then they're open to discussing that, including ballistic missiles, including investments, including oil deals, including mineral deals.
Well, they're going to have another chance to negotiate now that they have seen that we're serious.
I'm talking about
I understand.
Go back on
They also
I'm not talking.
Thank you. I haven't finished yet. They also
that's fine.
They also have to agree not to slaughter their own people. They also have to agree to not slaughter their own people.
So neoliberal. Another report on Al Jazeera where it was analysts from the Middle East, Gulf, foreign schools and all of that. And they say, from what we're looking at, none of these entities are willing to de-escalate. That the US isn't, Israel isn't, Iran isn't. And Iran will not stop unless Israel and America are willing to sit so they can negotiate on something. He was just saying this is going to continue. This is going to get worse, and they're going to expand attacks on specific military operations in the region.
Yep. Earlier today, Trump said he's open to talk on his timeline. So he basically said this is going to go forward until he decides not to. But the offer from Iranians to talk, he resisted. He said, just not now.
Yeah, the issue is they won't be able to, it won't stop because any person who eventually is to consolidate power, whether it's a supreme leader or something, you're going to need to show that you will be capable of defending or at least stand up to the West. So legitimacy in itself can only be by proving that, hey, we hit back. We're going to hit back the Americans hard or the Israelis and stuff like that.
So they have it already. Like they can spin whatever they did, which, okay, we can discuss whatever they did, but they definitely can already spin whatever attacks that they made on U.S. allies, U.S. bases, killing U.S. soldiers as reestablishing deterrence. They can claim success on it.
But then there was also another thing that the analysts were saying, which is that I think from the attacks that happened last year, apparently, was it last year, the year before, but apparently Iran broke apart the structures. So before, instead of it having one full command center coming downwards, the Republican Guard were somehow given some autonomy from the foreign ministry and things that happen with the foreign ministry.
Yep.
And because of that, it's very difficult to control things, and it's worse for the international community because you now have to deal with different entities of the region.
Well, they can consolidate it. This is the, like, slightly game theory, what they did, but Aragici said it like blatantly, saying that the units are decentralized in a command control structures that are isolated, and they're striking, and they have a wide range on tactics, target selection. So they're working autonomously, right? It doesn't mean that they lost control over them, but for OPSEC reasons, that they're not reestablishing control. They designed it that way. It's not like they have splintered. That's how they designed it, right? And whenever the message is basically end your attacks and we'll rein them in, right? The implicit threat on it is that they can, at some point, attack the oil infrastructure of the Gulf states, which, if that's the option that Iran hasn't done yet fully. They attacked a port, but if they start attacking explicitly oil infrastructure, which they have the capability, there's also a nuclear reactor they can attack, or whatever, that would be another level of escalation. But if they escalate to attacking oil infrastructure and burning the oil fields, that's the implicit threat, right? Like, these autonomous units could decide to just loot. And during the Kuwait War, it took 1 year to put out the oil field facts.
Oh yes, just to correct. So the autonomous unit that this plan, they actually did that. I think it's last year that they decided to purposely do it that way and ensure that all the different entities were running on their own. Before, it was all under one entity. And last year, I think after the US-Israeli attack, they decided to then break them into those entities.
You're right about this, Mariam. But at this point, are they even still a country? Then they're just a bunch of disparate terror groups attacking their neighbors at will, self-destructively, nihilistically destroying their neighbors, their Muslim neighbors, on Ramadan, means of making an economy.
Man, you don't give a shit. You keep updating yourself. was talking to George Stephanopoulos, do we want to hear from the foreign minister of Iran?
I'd love to hear more. I think it was very informative.
I'm sorry, Devon, what did you say?
I'd say yes, just to give us a break and to have something for us to discuss, yes.
That would be great. And just last
Before we play that, hold on.
let's start talking about Ramadan, because the U.S. and Israel went and attacked this country during Ramadan. You are not supposed to be doing that.
No, we don't know.
So,
No, Miriam, you know what he's trying to do.
Wait.
He's just trying to get us riled up and trying to let us know.
Listen to the clip.
I wanted to play the clip, but I think Jenny's just trying to get in there, and
Of course.
she got stepped over, so.
Yeah.
Well, Michael and Johnny, then we're going to play a clip.
Thank you. I just wanted to give context to what's going on in Virginia. It looks like there was a crash off of the Turnpike 495 in Fairfax, and the suspect got out of the car and allegedly stabbed 4 people. So I don't know if that's related to everything that's happening outside of the country, but that's the latest. So they shut down sections of 495.
Johnny, appreciate you.
And okay, I'm on music mode, so let me go back to the clip.
Senator, thanks for your time. I want to go to Iran right now because we're being joined by the Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. Mr. Foreign Minister, thank you for joining us this morning. Who's in charge of Iran right now?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me in your program. Well, I think now there is a procedure set in our constitution, and that when we lose the supreme leader, there will be a new one elected by the Assembly of Experts. And now the president, the head of judiciary, and 1 jurist of the Guardian Council, these 3 will decide, are in charge right now. And they will actually arrange the election of the new leader by the Assembly of Experts and Strikes. Once they were replaced very soon, and in less than 12 hours, we were able to start retaliation. This time, it was even, faster. In less than 2 hours, we started to retaliate by attacking, Israeli targets and American bases in the region, and we have continued to do so. Our military is in place. They are capable enough to defend our country. Even more, they are more prepared and capable than previous war, before 12-day war. Huge differences between these 2. So one should tell, the President of the United States, do not attack, do not, make any aggression against another country. But nobody can tell us that you don't have any right to defend yourselves. We are defending ourselves, whatever it takes, and we see no limit for ourselves to defend our people, to protect our people. Just look, yesterday they hit a school. So far, 148 girls, students have been killed. And this is a big massacre. This is a war crime. And you say we don't have any right to defend ourselves?
You say you want to protect your people.
Hospital.
You say you want to protect your people, but your own regime, according to the estimates we've seen over the last several months, is responsible for the killing of up to 30,000 Iranian citizens.
Well, I have already answered this accusation. Let me to explain. We were faced with a terrorist operation. It was first protesters, demonstrations, which was legal according to our constitution. Our people have the right to protest and to go for gatherings and demonstrations. They did it from 28 December to 7 January. We had legal protests. Everything was fine and nobody was killed. And then on 8th January to 10, we faced with a terrorist operation. Armed elements were added to this
they started to kill people. So that was a terrorist operation for 3 days, and the number of killings exactly 3,117. And the names of those victims, all of those victims have been already published by us, together with their identification number. If anybody claims that the number is more, as you said, 30,000, 50,000, whatever, please show one evidence. Please add one more name to the list we have already published. So please be fair. Out of those 300 people, we have announced 2,500 as martyrs because they were killed by terrorist elements. 200 of our police forces have been killed by those terrorist elements. If somebody shoot at a police department officer in the United States, how do you react? Do you just give him permission to do whatever?
Okay, so I paused. Did anybody want to speak about what he said thus far? Don't want to talk the mic at one.
It's a bunch of lies.
Tiffany, I think just Tiandra, just play all of that.
I want to comment on so we can listen to more lies. Another one of Trump's demands is that they stop slaughtering their own people, and that's a really good point. It's unacceptable. I mean, especially women and children. They slaughter them, and then they go into the hospitals. Anybody who was wounded, they go into the hospitals and finish them off.
How do we know everything? Hold on. So who is that? Dude keeps saying that it's lies. He said they provided, it was 3,000, not 30,000. How do we know he's lying?
Because they're lying people themselves. They're telling us. They're literally gathering in the streets right now that we took out this evil dictator, Khomeini.
Slow down. Sure. Where is the evidence that 30,000 people, they said it or they gave evidence? He said they provided the 3,000. He said that they were shooting at police. So that's lies?
They were unarmed.
They weren't armed.
They were unarmed.
How do we know? There's no media acknowledgement.
Listen, they're Iranian people, when they can get to their Starlink, they're uploading all this. We have Iranian people in the room. Please ask them. Actual people in Iran. And
Just asking how do we know the number? That's all.
We don't know the Iranian people.
Would you rather trust the words of the person who slaughtered all those people?
No. I'm not trusting them either. I'm telling you, this is what we're going to do.
Divine seemed to.
This is what we're going to do. Instead of people trying to do the either or side, we're trying to have an adult conversation. Right? We're just asking for the evidence. That's all. Divine doesn't know the number. Divine can't point out Iran on a map. Neoliberal can't point out Iran on a map. Neither can I. We're just asking. We just want to see it. 1 second, sir. We just want to see it. No one is agreeing with the regime. If you do that straw man one time, I'm just going to remove you from the room. Nobody here likes the Ayatollahs. Stop it. We're not here to bang. We just want to see the evidence. You saying somebody come into a room and ping them there from Iran, they don't know either. They don't know. It's because you're on Clubhouse. I don't trust anybody. That's all you're saying. For the evidence. I wanted to see it too. Just for my own edification. It's not that I agree or disagree. I imagine it's closer to 30,000 than 3,000 for sure.
I'm looking at Amnesty
International right now. I'm just asking for the evidence. Cool. All right, put it in the chat. That's all. Don't ask us if we agree with the Ayatollahs again. The next person that does that will be blocked from the room for life. I'll just put you on a permanent blacklist. Nobody here supports the fucking Ayatollahs. Just because you can only have conversations based off of the fact that you agree or disagree with one bang, y'all want to know what the dumb. Go open a healthy debates and do that dumb shit. That's all the Divine's asking for. It's really stupid.
I respect your commentary, but I was not believing in that.
No.
Thank you.
Do we want me to continue playing the clip?
No.
Yes.
No. Wait a minute. Now Norm is citing Amnesty International?
I thought it was Hamas.
Oh my God. You're saying now we have
Yes, they're infiltrated by Hamas. Let's prove them. We actually busted them.
Well, it is in Iran. They're stop both ways. It's ridiculous.
It does?
Yes.
Where's the evidence of that?
The same wasn't the N-word.
Oh, did you just pull it?
Yeah.
I never called. When did I call you the N-word?
Yeah, 8 times. I won't take it.
When? Play it now, please. Wait, stop the room and play it now.
No.
Stop the room. Stop lying. You're a businessman.
1 second.
You know about the thing that's called
Where's it say 30,000 on the Amnesty International side.
Why change the subject?
That's what we're talking about.
Just why did you bear false witness before God?
Because I wanted to. I don't believe in God. Where's the 30? Where's the
And from my understanding of reading this,
quiet, dude. Okay, quiet. Where does it say 30,000 on the Amnesty International?
give me some time and I'll pull together some time.
So you have to deep
down and get granular.
Is that what you're done? You're done. You're done. We asked you for the evidence of the 30,000. You put something in the
I'm assembling it for you, and then before you even read it,
I'm asking where the 30,000 on this is.
He didn't even read it.
Okay, so someone's got another one. This is Iran Intel. I don't know what that is. Where's the evidence from this one? The person in Google. What is Iran International? Where is it? Who put that? Sober man. How did they get that number?
So Ben,
One second, Ali. Sure. Sure.
Go ahead.
Where did you get the number from? Okay. Don't have that one either. All right, go ahead, Ali.
Yeah, thank you for that. I have been looking up to see approximately what the numbers are. And the numbers we're talking about is the numbers being killed by the Islamic Republic of Iran in the last 5 or 6 weeks. The numbers range from 3,100 provided by the government of Iran as the replay showed, all the way to 36,000 people by different people. So my sources are from Public Broadcasting, Associated Press, and Wikipedia, which goes more in details, providing the sources that the numbers are coming from. So I think at the minimum, one could say by some good level of confidence, if you believe the government of Iran, at the minimum 3,100 people have been killed by the Iranian government in the last 4 or 5 weeks. Then one could take the numbers going all the way to 30,000, which comes from a credible source. And I can put it in the chat. But I have to tell you, it's very difficult to actually get a good grasp of the totality of people being killed, because the apparatus of government in Iran does not really allow any credible kind of assessment of how many people that have been killed. One could say, well, they're the truth, they being the Iranian government. Anyway, I'm just landing with this 3,100 to 30,000, actually 36,000.
All right, so one mic real quick. So what Sober Dude posted, Iran International editorial is owned by Violent Media UK, privately owned company based in London. Violent Media has stated it is owned by a Saudi British citizen and denies state backing. So that article that Soberman posted said 36,500. And I said, well, who are these people? And I just said who they are. This is a UK-based Saudi British citizen-owned organization saying that 36,500 people have been killed. And what the gentleman just said, it was my point as well. People are saying these numbers. It's just like us saying how many people crossed the border, right? It was 50 million, it was 30 million, it was 10 million. These numbers, we just want the truth. I'm not down with anybody. I have no motive to side with the Shah or the Ayatollah. We just want to know what the hell is going on. I'm going on.
Well, Time Magazine is a better outlet, and I provided an article from Time Magazine.
Time Magazine is allowed to go into Iran?
Go ahead, T. No, there's information in the article.
Okay. All right. TT, go ahead. Let's listen to the rest.
TT, you there? We're ready for the rest of the video, for the rest of the thing.
One thing we can agree on is that this genocide regime is slaughtering its own people. There's no dispute about that. And it's intolerable.
So is Israel. Israel's slaughtering their own people.
No, absolutely not. I don't know if you heard about this ceasefire.
We're occupied Israel, so that I
Who's occupied? Wait, which part is occupied?
That's not the topic. Come on.
Yeah, you gotta get it.
You're not really the right.
No, I'm saying
You're bringing the moral high ground to the
I'm taking the moral high ground. Now you can't.
you're being a hypocrite. You're being a
Another thing that we know for a fact, right? Like, I believe the regime is repressive and has killed protesters. The number, I don't know the exact number, right? I can confirm it. Either way, I believe it's higher than the government number. I believe it's lower than 30,000. The other thing that we know.
What's the basis of that belief?
The basis is the low and high numbers. The amnesty is credible given that they have done the research. Amnesty's number is not 30,000.
Yeah. So they're one. So you just gonna add them together, take the middle, just to be in the middle.
Well, that's my personal choice. Yes.
Okay. So in other words, we don't know.
Mr. Murray verified you about amnesty, and he wasn't on this when it came to Gaza.
Well, amnesty anyway.
I think it's grouping. Okay. Can we stick to the topic?
Let's do that.
Okay. I think amnesty is credible. I think there is a wide band of uncertainty when it comes to this question. So let's deal with that. It's uncertain. The other thing that we know that isn't uncertain, right? That during the 12-day war, there were Israeli agents and weapons and stashes around, right? That were used during the 12-day war, and it stands to reason that some of that ended up deliberately, not deliberately, in protesters' hands. So there you go.
Etienne, are you there? Okay, yeah, we're ready to continue if you have the clip, please.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Added to this question, and they started to shoot at our police forces, our security forces, and then they started to shoot at ordinary people, even to protesters. Why? Because they wanted to increase the number of deaths. Since the president of the United States had already said that if there are killings, he would come to rescue. So they wanted to actually drag him to this question. So they started to kill people. So that was a terrorist operation for 3 days, and the number of killings were exactly 3,117. And the names of those victims, all of those victims have been already published by us, together with their identification number. If anybody claims that the number is more, please show what we published. So please, out of those 300, as well. 200 of our police forces have been killed by terrorist elements. Some shoot at police department officer in the United States. What do you do next? Do you just give him permission to do what? Protest them? No. So please distinguish between two different stories.
We have seen evidence of newborns killed and children's killed. There was a certain amount you've claimed. By those who are celebrating the streets right now, that's not the same kind of discipline.
The daily cars who pass through the streets, and so many people were killed blindly by these terrorist elements because they were ordered by Israel at that time. They were instructed to kill people and give a big number of killings to the President of the United States. We have their voices. The instructions which coming from outside to these terrorist elements who are ordering them, police officers, if not police, they kill is possible. So a deal was at our reach, and we left Geneva happily with the understanding that we can reach a deal next time we meet. And it was very unfortunate that those who are against peace, against diplomacy, against negotiation, when they understood that diplomacy is going on well, they decide in the media, against the Islamic Republic of Iran, against, the desires of us, against, and they made lots of accusations against us. They created false information and disinformation, and they finally get to what they wanted. They dragged President Trump, they convinced President Trump to attack us unprovoked and unwarranted.
Mr. Minister, thank you for your time this morning.
Okay, that was it. Give me 1 second to fast forward and I'll see what's going on with the rest of the cast.
I like the Omani guy much better, to tell you the truth. I trust him more. The Omanis are great people.
No one gives a shit who you trust.
Beg your pardon?
They're all great people. How is it okay people?
Why? We do business with the Omanis.
I know you hear me saying why. Respectfully.
What did you want
So,
to say?
Lord just put in the chat, and I'm going to see what else I can find out. Iranian drone strike hit an ammunition warehouse at a U.S. base in Erbil in Iraq. Secondary explosions and a large fire were observed at the scene. Also, IRGC is putting out numbers, which I don't believe, saying that so far the U.S. has lost 560. I don't think there's any truth to that. So let's keep the current events going, guys. In this situation, anybody find out anything, I'm going to check this out. Again, shout out to Lord.
When we're thinking about the situation, I think when we look to the future, if the Trump administration is right and these guys collapse and all that occurs, it will be a win for them. That said, which I hope that occurs. That said, on the Iranian side, the strategic logic is really you just have to survive. Like if you're the Iranian regime and you can stay in power and you can keep these attacks going and you can kind of keep oil prices going through the roof and you can do this until the summer, domestic support for the Trump administration will be like in the 20s. And that's the problem that they face is that the Iranian regime this by simple survival, and eventually domestic support will collapse, and they'll be essentially left alone.
I mean, that's where it becomes a little bit tricky on the oil prices. They have not really targeted. There was some strengths, but oil infrastructure. Some of this conflict has been priced in the oil price, and the analyst range has the optimistic one, right? Is that configuration where Strait of Hormuz is closed, but it's closed to oil cans, insurance prices go up, like stuff like that. There is instability over Strait of Hormuz. Sometimes it's open, sometimes it's closed. It's unclear, right? Insurance prices go up, and there's rerouting happens, which all of this already happened. Insurance has been, some of the insurance has been voided. There is renegotiation on it. There is rerouting. Maersk announced their rerouting, which rerouting adds 2 weeks. The Saudis and the Gulfs are going to transition to using the pipeline. I need to do the math on it, how much can they substitute barrels per day using the pipelines rather than Strait of Hormuz. It's not fully substitutable, right? And so the range of oil prices tomorrow, depending on who you read, can be from 80 to 120. And also depends on what happens since then, right? If there is a strike on oil infrastructure, what you just said, Brian, might happen much sooner, like within days, rather than prolonged to summer.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I'm just the elongated part of it is just this is not a conflict the Trump administration can allow to just keep on going. It's roughly just politically, you cannot allow this to keep on going. And for kind of strategic victory on the Iranian side, you just need to survive, and you just need to do these sort of attacks and keep your regime alive and not keep a domestic overthrow. What was my point? It is one side. It's essentially a hope and a prayer that the Iranians will overthrow the government, but the other side, you just have to live to the next day, and eventually this will collapse. Or the political will to carry out this conflict will collapse on the American side.
So, like, what was interesting about what you said there, though, was how it impacts China. Well, I think they get 90% of Iran's oil sent to China. Something like that. You can fact check that number, but you just provided the calculus and how it would probably impacts.
Well, there's a good point too. We're starving our enemy, China. It's an excellent point. This is a big demonstration for China that we are willing to use our overwhelming force, and we will starve them and prevent them from moving on the neighborhood of Singapore, Japan, Australia, Vietnam, all and of course the main event Taiwan, which they have plans to do, according to them, before 2027. That's what this is about. And I'm glad that Trump is finally figuring that out and going to do it. 100% true.
How much of total oil supply does China get from Iran?
What was the last figure you just offered? What was that, dude?
That was the other way around. I'm asking how much.
What was the figure you used? Well, hang on. Dude, just tell you. If you're not listening, just ask me. He just told you.
Well, I said 90% of Iran's supply. He's asking how much of the total supply China is provided by.
And it's also
just somebody wanting to say
years. I got a lot of respect.
No answer, please. No answer.
Why are you asking me to answer?
Because he's
looking to me.
No, because you made the claim. You made the claim.
Yes.
This is about starving out China. So
that's correct. That's correct.
You just say things with no understanding.
Wait a minute.
Wait a second. Hang on.
You asked me a question, let me answer. I said that this was a demonstration to China that we are willing to overwhelming force. Do you disagree?
Okay, let's move on. Let's
just quick. I guess you were right.
We need to learn what.
Excellent. I'm glad you guys are learning from me.
God, you guys don't know the answer. Just stop yapping. You don't know. I'm just learning from you. It's like 10%. Just be quiet.
Yeah, I'm pretty close.
How we know it is very small. It doesn't do anything. And if anything, it hurts the other Asian countries that depend more on Iran that the U.S. is still allied with. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, 80% of the oil from Iran goes to China.
And that doesn't matter. So from China's perspective, go ahead, Trent.
What matters is our willingness to China.
Sit the fuck down, dude.
Go ahead, Trent.
It is not confirmed that for the New York Times, the IGRC, the Islamic Republican Guard headquarters, has been destroyed, as well as more record reports that the intelligence apparatus of the Iranian regime has been decimated as well. There were reportedly hundreds of soldiers inside the intel complex. No word on how many were in the IRGC headquarters, but both of those have been completely destroyed.
Yeah, CENTCOM was tweeting that out. I saw that too. What else? Anybody else?
Just one comment on that. It somewhat doesn't matter that it hurts China too, because it's going to hurt. Like a global economic disruption, if you can disrupt the state of Vermont and kill a bunch of energy infrastructure to the Middle East, yeah, it's going to hurt China. It's going to hurt the U.S. It's going to hurt the globe economically. But for this current conflict, which was my point, is that economic harm is going to be fucking really unpopular in the United States, as is a elongated war in the Middle East. And if you combine that and you're going into election year, that's unsustainably politically for the United States, which goes back to my point. For the Iranians to win this, only thing they have to do is survive. Like the only way the Americans win this is a hope and a prayer that the Iranian people rise up and overthrow the regime, which I hope that occurs. But I would put my bets on the Iranian regime surviving and eventually political support for this war in the United States collapsing.
So Lindsey Graham says that it's not a regime change. The goal of this operation to change the threat, not the regime. And then there are news that Israel believes it can negotiate with the Iranian president, Pezeshkian, from Israeli channels above.
I mean, if you're the Iranian, like the whole religious teachings, you would think at this point that's got to be wayside, and you establish nuclear deterrence. It's gone.
I don't think many people know what she's talking about, but it's gone. It'll be within 2 years. If they're able to get back online, it'll be 2 years. It might even be quicker.
Well, I mean, and that's what people don't understand about Iranian enrichment. Like, if you're 60, like the technically hard part of Iranian enrichment is going from just uranium ore to, your 2% enrichment. Once you get it to 60%, it's not technically that hard to get it to 90%. And they have a shit ton of 60% enriched uranium. Now, they got to do other stuff. They got to operationalize it in a bomb. They got to put it on a missile. But they obviously have decent missile tech. So all of that's not within the realm of possibilities. Like, and they're in a corner. If the regime doesn't die, which I hope the regime dies, don't mistake the statement. But if they don't die, the logic for what they need to do next, I couldn't imagine it being more crystal clear, and that's likely what they're going to do.
Yeah, I've been reading, just a bunch of commentary from people who study this kind of stuff, and I have not found one person who, is not politically aligned, but, really studies the brain that suggests that the Iranians will be successful in doing the thing that people are calling on them to do. Lindsey Graham, when did he say that neoliberal?
I need to dig up specifically his stuff.
He said it after his seconds.
Yes.
Oh, that's insane. He was just saying last week he was at parties talking about regime change. See how completely changed? See how quickly they changed it? Now it's not about regime change. And there'll be maggots in here. It wasn't about regime change too. And there's no regime change. The change you got was instead of getting a cleric who tells them not to have the weapon, you're going to get some secular guy come in. And they're going to put all their forces behind getting the weapon. That's the change. That fatwa. Do fatwas die when the person who issues the fatwa dies? How does that work? For those of you who know about fatwas.
Yeah, presumably fatwas will die if the target of the individual dies.
No, I meant the issuer of the fatwa.
I'm sorry?
The one who issued it. So, he had a fatwa against building the bomb, the weapons.
Right, I see. So that could continue from that perspective. So it seems to me, no matter who the new leader is going to be in Iran, whether the same regime coming up with a new leader, which actually they're in the process of doing the selection process by this committee of three. One is something similar to Supreme Court, and then the other one from another organization called the Assembly of Experts. So they have assembled these three individuals, and they're going to come up. That's their constitutional responsibility. Their constitutional responsibility is to select a leader. So suppose they do, and suppose the new leader becomes very clever and says, look, US, we'll do what you want us to do. We will stop enriching uranium. We have no ambition to produce any nuclear weapons. Second, we'll stop all of our production of the long-range ballistic missiles. Also, we guarantee you that the Strait of Hormuz is not going to be blocked by us being the Iranians. And the fourth one, the most important one, that we will stop categorically providing weapons, money, help to all of the proxy terrorist groups in the region. If these four promises are made, and there's some mechanism to make sure that these promises are complied with, then it seems to me it's possible that the US may say, okay, we're going to hold you accountable to this, and we're going to put these mechanisms in place to make sure that you comply. So this way, probably the regime can survive, but this regime cannot be trusted. So a fantastic opportunity, a momentous opportunity, which is now, is going to be lost. It can be highly unlikely if Iranians make the promise. Then they do not make good on the promises, let's say 6 months, a year down the road. Do you think we'll have anyone that will have the same opportunity that is here now presenting itself in order to the war? I don't think so. So there's a possibility that the regime could survive in conditions that I just mentioned. But that would not be a good thing. I'm going to say the last thing, any fool that trusts the Islamic Republic of Iran's leadership, they'll be a fool, and have proven over and over and over again that they cannot be trusted.
I don't know if the Iranians need to make a deal. I mean, assuming that they can survive, that is an assumption that the Iranian people won't overthrow them. But assuming that they can survive, the political will for this conflict in America, like you're going into an election year in the U.S. where you already have a president that is about as popular as an STI. Like, he's already extremely unpopular. You're going to go into the summer of Americans, much higher gas prices, and probably an even unstable economy if this conflict kind of drags on. You're not really setting yourself up for a great November. And with that, I think this is politically sustainable. So the deal that you laid out, I don't know if it's necessary from the Iranian perspective. The other thing I'd say is, lots of talk of a collapse in the Iranian regime, and some of those scenarios can be positive, and some of those scenarios can be very, very negative. I mean, you could have more hardliners from the IRGC essentially take over, make the supreme leader essentially a figurehead, and then do those sort of things. Well, provide a nuclear, do a nuclear sprint and do those things. So, I just think this is a conflict. Obama said, "Let's bring back hope." I think this is like the neocon hope and dream, and hope it works out. And I'm just dubious that is going to.
Yeah, you're probably right, Brent. I think time is on the Iranian side for the reason that you just explained. So I'm not sure of it, but the scenario you're presenting, it is possible in terms of the effect on the midterm elections in a negative way, particularly when the president actually had one of the agenda that he was running on is basically no nation building. The focus is going to be on the domestic, predominantly, on the domestic concerns of the country and immigration taxation and the rest of it. So the focus pretty much is the other way around. Yeah, I do agree with you. Who knows what's going to happen?
It's a little sparse, but
I think hope is good.
Lindsey Graham said it also on the press.
Isn't that what was in Pandora's box?
Any other role? Can you look at the links that I posted? Just see if you played it already. It's super quick. It's from Lindsey Graham this morning. It's a different.
Ban, we're asking about the fatwa. So usually the fatwa is when the person dies. And let's say the fatwa is done as permanent and irrevocable, then it continues to a lifetime. It doesn't end until it's achieved.
Okay, interesting. I just think that tweet or the truth that Trump put out and that I put in Lindsey Graham's response is absolutely fucking nuts. I don't know if you've already addressed it.
Scott, I think it's part of the same interview. There is a part where it says, quote unquote, the goal of this operation is to change the threat, not the regime. But he puts it like differently 3 times.
So we sacrifice all those fucking college kids that are ready to go for fucking nothing.
Yep. Do you want me to stream it? I can if you want.
Which, the clip?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's 2 seconds.
Yeah,
go for it.
I got it. Hang on. Hold on. Sorry.
That's the other thing Scotty was listening to. We know that. We know it.
So 3 U.S. soldiers died for fucking nothing.
Wait, she's playing the clip that I put in there, Alan, I hope.
While she's looking for the clip, I guess the 3 scenarios out there, possibilities. One is to remove the threat, the form that I mentioned, essentially, maybe not entirely. The second would be the regime change. And the third one would be the nation building. And I'm sure, absolutely, that we in the US, is not in the business of building nation building. We have not done a good job, particularly when it comes to Middle Eastern countries, Iraq and Afghanistan. So I think from those 3 scenarios, it seems to be the first one that I mentioned. Removing the threat would be a good goal to have, considering how menacing this Islamic Republic of Iran has been in the last 47 years, not only terrorizing their own people, and the numbers killed by this regime very strongly during the last 47 years. And I probably can post numbers here. And also being a threat to the regional stability in adjacent countries and the region itself. And so removing the threat would be a good thing. At what cost, that has to be discussed and decided on. I'm sure people have calculated. What will it cost money-wise, time-wise?
That's fine for
human, let me just land in here. And in terms of losing, American soldiers, this war. So anyway, it seems to me that removing the threat, if possible, is a good thing.
Yeah, okay, if that is your war aim to remove the threat, you have to physically go in and remove the threat. You can't do that with air power. You can degrade the threat, bomb the threat, but if you want to remove it, that
that's going to require ground invasion of Iran. Like that is the only way you can quote unquote remove the threat. So if the goal is that, the means that you're using to get to that goal are just by definition non-sufficient.
So what I'll say is, like, you're talking about fully removing the threat with force, but so what about degrading that threat so much that the people could actually remove that threat?
Well, then that's regime change. Like if you're trying for regime change, maybe that could occur. There's some evidence that the Iranian people don't like this regime, and maybe you can bomb the regime to the point that they would overthrow. I would just say, to counter that, one, that is a strategy of hoping and praying, and to defeat that strategy, the only thing this regime has to do is survive, and this regime has shown a remarkable ability to survive through its various crises. And I would, if I had to take a bet, and this is not the bet that I want to go true, but if I had to bet my life savings on it, I would bet on this regime surviving versus that kind of hope and prayer strategy working out.
Do you know who else agrees?
I had a question. I was playing before I was sitting about. Senator, at the time, you agreed with the findings of the intelligence commission.
During our election, if you remember, the committee was the Russians. They didn't change the outcome, but they did release information to the Democratic Party. It did affect Hillary Clinton. There's only one person in Washington that I know of that has any doubt about what Russia did in our election, is President Trump.
Senator, are you now saying that you... Okay, that's it, guys.
Brent, I wanted to respond to making a good comment. Any effort that is going to postpone by a year, 2 years, or 5 years the nuclear production of the enriching uranium in Iran, as also delaying the production of making the the production of long range ballistic missiles, and also putting some checks and balances in terms of Iran's participation in the fueling the regional conflict. I think even if you can postpone that for 2 or 3 years, that's a good thing. It may not necessarily require a regime change. By destroying the infrastructure in Iran, the military producing the weapons and enriching uranium, the uraniums would not be necessarily a bad thing to be done. So I don't think postponing it would be probably a better option. And I think this attack, it seems to me, that might be able to accomplish that.
Yeah, if it does accomplish that, just wait, Brent. If it doesn't accomplish that, then what it will do is change the state of affairs of the region. And that could still be a benefit of the people suffering from this regime, and also American benefit as well. The neighbors in the region that are, kind of impacted by Iran, it's not only Israel. And I know that people in this room like to hate Israel, but they're not the only neighbor concerned with Iran today.
So alternatively, it can, and I agree with Brent, right, that this is all, of course, is very positive. Alternatively, it can embolden, as American CIA thinks, that released the report a day before this campaign started, or on the same day, thinks that the RGC hardliners will be in power. The center of gravity will shift more to the more radical factions in the Iranian government, right, and IRGC. And given the asymmetry and costs of production of those weapons and access to oil, they can rebuild, right?
So kind of a few comments on kind of delay. One, I just find it kind of humorous, because one of the big things that people didn't like about the JCPOA is that they said, well, this only delays countries, the Iranians have to do a bomb. It doesn't forever solve it. So, we did have an agreement. It did have sunset clauses that could be that could have been negotiated, but we did have an agreement that was very cheap to implement and that held the Iranians to 2.6 or 3.67% enriched uranium as a cap.
Were you here when the foreign minister of Oman was speaking that there was a new agreement on the table that was better than Obama's agreement on nuclear?
I did not hear that.
Let me catch up. Before this war, the Omani foreign minister went on Face the Nation, right? Because I think he thought that the United States was going to go to war, and said that a deal on the table, right, on nuclear issues is much better than Obama had at the time. It permanently solves the nuclear weapons issue, and said that other than that, they are also open to discussing, not at this round, not at this stage, but once we have success with this, they're also open to discussing ballistic missiles.
Yeah, and that would be great. I think a diplomatic solution with international monitoring is much better than this solution, because it goes to the other reality. Is dropping bombs isn't going to unenrich uranium. You already have just a shit ton of enriched uranium that's not that technically hard to turn into weapons grade. And you gotta kind of deal with that, is that, how much is use of force going to delay? If the Iranians want to do a nuclear sprint, how much is use of force really going to delay them when they already have as much near bomb capable material as they already have?
Brent, I read somewhere around that question where Americans offered the Iranian regime to actually build at their own expense, American expense, 3 nuclear power plants in Iran and provide the fuel to Iranians in exchange for getting whatever uranium enrichment material that Iran has to hand it over to some kind of international agency. Iranians did not accept that. So you don't accept that. If you're saying that producing enriching uranium to build power plants, and first of all, one has to think about how rich this country is in terms of Iran, in terms of the hydrocarbon reserves, in number 3 or 4 in the world, that's number 1. But let's say Iran wants to wear a white environmental hat and say, look, I think fossil fuel is not good, so I need to provide a portion of the energy production in Iran either through nuclear power plants. So this offer was provided to them, and they said no, thank you very much.
So between the United States.
So that should tell, I'd be grateful if you let me finish. So that should tell you something about the intention of the government. If other countries, particularly America, is willing to provide that at their own cost, American cost, maybe European cost, and Iran is not accepting that, I think one has to scratch your head and say, look, why not? How come? Go ahead.
One second. So between the United States So between the United States take on the negotiation, the Iranian take on negotiation, and the mediator take on the negotiation, which is more credible out of those 3?
I would say the least credible would be the Iranian government.
Okay, and between the mediator and the United States?
I don't know. I can't tell you.
Well, I think the mediator take on the negotiation would be the most credible, right? The Omani foreign minister spoke to, right? I have no reason to trust on the state of negotiations the United States, right? Because the United States keep going into negotiations and then keeps in the middle of negotiations bombing the country, right? So in between those 2, I agree that the Iranians trusted, but between the mediator and the United States, given the behavior of the United States on negotiations and the last, if you remember, 12-day war with Israel, it started also in the middle of negotiation, right? When the United States bombed Iran, right? So, and given all the leaks on the negotiations coming up now, that the United States representatives didn't even seem to understand. Washington Post did a reporting on it. Since the Omani guy has the most credibility out of those, right? The Omani guy, nuclear weapon, they have reached basically an agreement. He asked for more days from the United States, went to face the nation, spoke on it, right? Said that basically we have the solution to the nuclear issue. And the other issues, they're open to talking after this is done, including on ballistic weapons.
You know, on negotiations, it's also important to just remind people that it is really the U.S. that has a longstanding inability to stay in a negotiated solution. It was the U.S. that originally left the JCPOA when all parties were essentially in agreement that the Iranians were in compliance with the uranium enrichment targets in the JCPOA, and that if that wasn't the case, there was a mechanism for the United States to kind of show its facts and show that the Iranians were not meeting the targets. So, I always think it's good to look at things from two perspectives. I hate the perspective of the Iranians. They're religious zealots that harm their people. But if you're looking from that perspective, it is the United States that are not trustworthy negotiating.
I question if the two of you actually feel empathy for the people that are suffering. I didn't respond.
I'm sorry, do you feel empathy for the 108 children that Israeli and US strikes killed? We can do those things either way. Why is your presumed humanitarian illegal bombing campaign is in
Well, I should do, and I talked to you about Ben Gvir a long time ago, and I'm no fan of
any of this. Talking about 108 people that were kids that were killed in Iran.
So you just care about those 108, but you don't care about the 20 to 30,000 lives.
No,
that's what your rhetoric was inferring.
How is my rhetoric
with the question of whether or not I cared about 108 people?
You asked me a similar question yourself.
What's more? Or 20?
You started the who cares about who counts. So
my point is that
it is the number of people
and the rhetoric that's provided by you and Brent seems to not care at all about the suffering.
That's not true. That's not what they're saying. Yeah, DM me with this. So just kind of respond to that briefly. Caring about the great suffering that the Iranian regime is doing to its people doesn't mean you do logical things that cause more human suffering. And those things, international politics is a game of cost and benefit. I think the cost of doing what the Trump administration is going to do in terms of human suffering, in terms of U.S. power, are going to be more negative than positive. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. But then to equate that to not feeling empathy for people that are suffering, I think is pretty low in company.
What I heard is that you hate Trump more than caring about these people.
This is ridiculous. Don't even engage. It's fucking stupid.
I asked you to we're having a good conversation. We asked you to stop. Please stop. If you don't stop, I'm going to make all of us listen to totem pole.
if it's okay, and I don't know if you played the clip, I can now play the clip. It's very brief. It's of Kristen Welker and Lindsey Graham responding to a text that was a post that was put up by Trump. It's 30 seconds. May I do it?
Please.
Okay.
Hopefully, the IRGC and police will peacefully merge with the Iranian patriots and work together as a unit to bring back the country to the court it deserves. Is hope the plan for the future of Iran?
No, the future of Iran is going to be determined by the Iranian people. The new Iran, whatever it is, whether it's a cleric or a representative democracy, our goal is to make sure it cannot become, again, the largest state-sponsored terrorism. That's a win for us.
Is there a plan to make sure that happens, Senator? Is there a plan? Does the president have a plan to guarantee that that happens?
No, it's not his job or my job to do this.
And President Trump wrote.
Sorry for the later.
So I don't think that's too far off base in terms of what Lindsey Graham said. Are we arguing that it's Donald Trump's job to make a determination as to how the Iranian people pass this time of war and into, economic prosperity for them in their case? Is that Donald Trump's job?
I would argue, as somebody who committed a country to war, it is his responsibility to lay out clear, achievable war aims and articulate them to the American people who are given their children and their treasure. So maybe that's not the war aims. Maybe it is regime change. But for fuck's sake, he should tell us and articulate.
But wasn't that what he did on Saturday at 2:30 in the morning when he appealed to the Iranian people to take to the streets and take back the government?
It did.
Brent, if I could, I would argue that it wasn't the Iranian government and the Ayatollah Khomeini that first incited the possibility of war with the U.S. and with Israel. I think that their enablement and their financing of proxies, Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis, are the early indications of the interest of war. So I wouldn't think that we would put the onus on the President of the United States to have to provide a definitive outcome for how the people of Iran. He simply needs to suggest, hey, we'll take to remove your current regime, which is a very unpopular regime in the first place.
I mean, when Trump came to the microphone, you're right, he did provide justification, and the justification was regime change. Lindsey Graham came to the microphone and he just said that this is not about regime change, this is about a imminent threat. Obviously, Lindsey Graham's not part of the exec, but there seems to be rather confusing messaging about what is the United States actually trying to achieve here, and that messaging, when you're putting blood and treasure on the line, that messaging should be clear. Like, you should go into a war with clear war aims, and that's not too much for the American people to ask.
Well, Brent, the reason I say this, TC, real quick. The reason I even played the clip was less about Lindsey Graham. We know what it truly is, and we know what he said. It's more about Trump just freestyling. Maybe the IGRC will merge with the Patriots of Iran and work together. That is so fucking ignorant and ridiculous, and yet we're glossing over it because of what Lindsey Graham said. I mean, both things are.
So, Brent, I would ask, I'm sure you would know more than anybody else that there's legal considerations for why he has to articulate the purposes of going to war, and then there's also geopolitical considerations. The geopolitical considerations might be different from the legal considerations, but they're not mutually exclusive, or one is not more valid than the other. If he says that I have to prevent an imminent threat to the national security of the United States and our allies, that could be the legal justification. But if he was to
And so we expect for the Iranian people to take to the streets and take over their government. That could be a geopolitical consideration. I don't think those two are incongruent. I think it's consistent with historical analysis of how previous presidents have engaged the rhetoric around taking preemptive actions. I would point you to George Bush and Afghanistan and Iraq.
When has a revolution
Afghanistan wasn't preemptive.
with the oppressing power to have a peaceful government?
I'm sorry, I got your question. What was that?
It wasn't even to you. If you want to respond, it's fine. But just generally, when has a revolution teamed up with an oppressive power?
Well, we know that the United States fueled, gun munitions to what would have been present day the Taliban in Afghanistan when they were warring against the Russians. That might be a horrible example, but it wouldn't be the first time that America supported a less than ideal government
Within its own country, when has a revolution sided with the oppressing force within the country?
Let me rephrase that question. It wasn't a top about initially after it was more idea.
Yeah, my way of doing it.
I said it was present day. I said it was turning to present day Taliban. That's what I said.
Okay, so the question is IRGC in Iran joining the protesters to overthrow the regime?
So I agree with you, liberal. I don't think what Donald Trump intimated is if IRGC was going to lay down the weapons and join the protesters in the street was a viable option. I think he knows that. I think the skilled people in the State Department know that. I think effectively what you're doing is you're giving justification for geopolitical ends. We were talking about a minute ago how the negotiations were fruitless and how we thought that the Iran representative was more credible than the negotiators on behalf of the U.S. And I would agree with you. But what I disagree is I think you have a fundamental misunderstanding of the reason why we were engaging in negotiations in the first place. They weren't to reach the diplomatic end in the first place. They were to buy time. Right. So again, this is subterfuge, and I talked about this a little bit yesterday. I fully expect Croatia to engage. Yeah, I agree. But where I think we disagree is I think it's for more noble ends. You don't think it's for noble ends. You asked about the compassion we have for the people that suffer.
No, I did. Ignore that. That was you. Ignore that. That's interesting.
Okay, yeah, no. The point is that yes, he's engaging in political subterfuge to create the pretext to allow him to continue to engage. I think for a more noble end.
Okay, that's a fair take. I probably actually have the same rate that they're just going with whatever narrative is available to them, and the public justifications and the credibility of those public justifications are not their primary aim, right? That's why they're throwing everything at the wall. But again, we're reading TVs.
My concern is that we hear far too many people on these stages.
Can you please stop talking over him? Let her complete his thought, okay?
Yeah, but we also, and this is to Trump administration and the Lindsey Graham, right? So it's also fair to look at Lindsey Graham's statements and how they have shifted during, before the operation start, which is, I think, the interesting point, right? Lindsey Graham was on for regime change before the operation. Now he has slightly shifted his position, it seems. So whether it is a representative or overall administration, or whether it's on Instagram, it's a good question. Again, we're all reading tea leaves that maybe what Brent was alluding to when the government doesn't even bother to communicate to its own people who are sacrificing, as Brent said, blood and treasure, right? To come up with credible scope, credible goal, and credible exit plan, right? None of this. I don't know how that would be legal reasons.
Well, that and
retreating also gives, I think, credence to what I was saying earlier is, for the Iranians to win this, they just have to last. Like regime change, maybe this is a hint that they're starting to realize that might not be unrealistic, and if that is unrealistic, eventually, and it was as unpopular as the conflict is started at, it'll become more unpopular, and this will just not be politically feasible in an election.
I agree. I think and this is, again, I don't have any basis of claiming this, but my read currently is that they were expecting the regime to fall in one day. They were expecting even something that Russia miscalculated with Ukraine, and it's going to fall in 8 days. The United States miscalculated it even worse, expecting that killing the Ayatollah, irrespective of what CIA told them, and released that report in public, right? That is going to be gone in a day, and protesters will take over the government, storm over the government building, assume control the government, and take it over from an IRGC will join them hand in hand. I think United States strategy has been delusion.
Yeah,
the United States is at this point unprepared, wasn't even expecting the range of retaliation that the United States is currently engaged in.
The French Macron just announced he's sending the Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier down there. I think it's the world's largest aircraft carrier, if I'm correct. I think it's even larger than anything.
We were told yesterday Israel was more powerful than France. Must be bigger than
good point.
Just keep going.
The question,
I'm just agreeing with neoliberal. It's really sad because, honest to God, I'm fully on the side of the Persian people. I think they're really, really nice people, and they hate their government. But I think, it will take troops on the ground. It'll take Canada, USA, UK, and France, and a 10-year war on the ground to kick the government there. And I just feel so sad because I think what we're setting up the Persian people for is a huge disappointment.
All right, so let's ask you a question, please. Neoliberals, I can ask a question to you or anybody that actually does study this kind of stuff and has elevated knowledge of it. Did you find it peculiar or surprising that Iran has lashed out at all of those targets instead of, say, focusing on maybe American aircraft carrier or even American bases, but also Israel instead? If you find that peculiar as a political and military strategy?
It's calculated. In fact, if you do count the missile strikes on all of those things, Israel is not receiving they are receiving regular barrages, which keeps the sirens up and makes people run into the streets. And yes, you do have some dramatic hits and split images, right? But Israel is not the main target. Go ahead.
It's right on what you're saying. Missiles just hit Jerusalem. Al Jazeera correspondent there is reporting that an Iranian rocket has made a direct hit on the city of Jerusalem. This was 3 minutes ago.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy. Let me finish what I was saying.
There's all these live feeds I saw at Tel Aviv just kind of hit.
Please.
Yeah, so Tel Aviv is getting hit, but Iran this time around seems to have calculated that Israelis have the will to withstand those things for a prolonged time. They don't have similar political cost and similar readiness to the United States and the U.S. allies in the region, right? The U.S. allies in the region and the United States do have the same political capacity to withstand this type of fire as Israel does. So Iran has judged that Israel is a stronger element, and that's why it has concentrated its fire on the bases and the U.S. allies in the region, and is also extending it slowly to Europeans.
So
they have explicitly, one second, they have explicitly stated it. They haven't really escalated it to the utmost that they can take it yet. That is the implicit threat in what they're doing, also with the closure of the Hormuz, that they're going to strike oil infrastructure next.
Yeah, you're right. Liberal, like,
I largely agree with being liberal, but I think there's an additional consideration as well. I think it's a legal one. I think Iran has calculated that they don't want to trigger justification for a self-response from the United States, which is why they decided not to strongly target aircraft carriers and that type of thing, because they understand that if their actions or their responses triggers a legitimate justification for a self-defense response, that it gives the Trump administration plays right into their hands a pretext to engage in all-out war, as opposed to this limited campaign.
Well, what do you mean by all-out war, though? Like, can you expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, boots on the ground. I mean,
okay, there's no fucking way anybody's taking over Iran.
Okay, yeah, we're going to have a follow-up question, I know. A follow-up question. So do you think also on one hand, like Iran is saying, hey, we can hit all of these places, so just so you know what our capabilities are, because the other side of it is, why would you do that and then galvanize the other Middle Eastern countries against you? I'm just trying to figure that out as a strategy. And I understand, I appreciate your take on Israel and why, and what they're willing to do.
Yeah, Scott, I think to what you're saying, I actually agree. I think there is, while this is part where American analysts are still not catching up, the Iranian regime is now treating this as the next, I don't know, weeks, hours is going to last as the final stand and the final survival. Either the regime dies or this is existential for them at this point, right? So they are ready to unleash everything they can, and they're going to go up the escalation ladder, but they are not going there immediately. So I agree with TC. They are not really going to go for, let's say, a tanker that's going to create a mass casualty event that is going to drive in the United States even more. But that doesn't mean they're not going to escalate slowly, right?
If it's existential, there's no doubt that they'll sink all the aircraft carriers because they can. It's proven they can.
It's existential, but that doesn't mean they are suicidal, right? It is existential for them, but their aim of how to win this is not only to survive as a but reestablish, not only outlast, but to reestablish deterrence. To the moment they make the United States and the U.S. allies that are going to be calling the United States to stop this, right? To feel pain.
Yeah, they're mad that the American public and the European public will collapse before the regime collapses. Yeah.
Okay, give me a second. I'll wrap it up and then you can respond. So there is something to what TC is saying. Deterrence cannot be like there is a balancing act in there, right? Like if they overplay their hand and sink a U.S. carrier, that makes their problem worse. Right, so the escalation ladder, we're going up on it. The problem with this is, of course, this can backfire and accidents happen, and this may escalate a much larger war. But the United States has taken it here.
So I would dispute that they have the technical capability to take down a carrier. Those carriers, are protected by the SM systems are pretty capable anti-ballistic missile systems, and also it is a lot technically easier to kind of hit a area target with a ballistic missile, say launch one towards yours or launch one towards a U.S. base versus a kind of relatively the ability of the Iranians to see.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt that the Iranians can create a fucking massive mess. All you have to do is even just threaten the Gulf states with a bit of chaos, and then they lose trillions of dollars of investment, right? Like last time I listened to Dubai, it's all about outside investment. Dubai is like, I think 80% of the money comes from the outside world. It's people investing, tax havens, vacationing. There's like a million Russians just on the one beach where I was staying, right? They're all outside investing, and all Iran has to do is make it an unattractive place. Everybody pulls out their money.
Yeah. Scotty, if you're on stage, I can see. See here?
Okay, I'm here. Yeah, this was from Al Jazeera. So they just basically said that Trump, I put it in the chat. So sorry, Trump, sorry about that. Trump opened to talks with new Iranian leader. White House official confirmed has told Al Jazeera that Trump has opened talks with new leadership following the killing of the Ayatollah.
Nah, it's the pressure he's getting from the Gulf states. They're calling him up saying, hey, make a deal, you know.
Yeah, you don't need to sense everything. You know what I mean? Let the conversation flow. You don't have to respond.
No, I think this is exactly what I said yesterday. I think this is the same player. I get excited when I hear stuff like that because I said this, I called this out yesterday. It's the same play we did in Venezuela. Watch what I tell you. Trump is very predictable. It's pattern recognition. He's going to do the same thing he did in Venezuela, and it's highly effective. That's my bet.
How is it effective?
I just told you that they hit Jerusalem. Like they hit a hotel in Dubai. Not Dubai. What was the hotel? Bahrain. I forgot.
In Dubai.
There are American soldiers did. This is a lot different.
No, it is different. I'm not saying that it's not different, but I'm saying the strategy is the same. And I'm saying effectively what you do is you remove the senior leadership, you raise the stakes, and you offer an olive branch to whoever comes in and create a puppet relationship, but an amicable, attractive relationship, if you will, with each other. Because guess what? At the end of the day, the United States and Israel is going to keep the pressure up until they become satisfied. And that's the obligation of this new leader, whoever this is. I don't think it's coming from the IRGC. I honestly believe it's some sort of civilian leadership that could be in place.
You are insane.
You are
insane. Oh, this is crazy.
It just exposed yourself like God. Some civilian? Is he going to be from the
Okay, maybe one back. I think
how many of you guys want that? I've been right, like, legit, like, so.
No one is going to take you on a bet. You're not serious. We're having a serious conversation.
I'm visiting a weekend. Let's see how serious the conversation was.
So I think what TC actually suggested here is not far-fetched. By doing what Trump did in Venezuela, I don't think they in the U.S. had in mind the representative democracy in Venezuela. Their whole idea was about the oil and constraining the China's access to Venezuela oil. And that has been accomplished. So if they can do the same thing with Iran and have some level of control over the production of the oil and the distribution of the oil, I think that would be pretty clever strategy to sustain or to control the energy in the form of oil and gas. Particularly, when I say gas, I'm talking about LNG, liquefied natural gas, going to China. That's not a necessarily bad strategy. So in a sense, the TC is not off track here.
Please don't argue with that. Let them sell themselves of this narrative. This would be a great outcome for all our citizens. Yes, there would be a new government in Tehran, and it's going to be an ally of the United States, and the war is going to be.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
It will be.
Don't mischaracterize what I said. The most respect. That's not what I said. Hold on. Don't mischaracterize what I said. If you don't mind, I'd like to be able to represent what I said. I I think the recordings are on, no? Okay, well, they're not. Well, that's fine. I'll put the line in the sand here and make it very clear, okay? Under no circumstances am I expecting this thing to fizzle out to like roses and cherries and rainbows in a week's time. That's not what I'm suggesting. What I'm suggesting is this is the same play that we see in Venezuela. Remember, after Trump took Maduro, Venezuela's president, Diego, vice president, now president this time, went out and called out Rodriguez. Thank you. I'm really bad with names. You'll know that about me. Then I think you're bam. I'm horrible with names. Just forgive me. But you'll remember that Rodriguez came out and completely eviscerated the Trump administration. Okay, comparing their acts and says Venezuela will rise from the ashes to that effect. And then what she seen doing like a month and a half later, she was seen walking around with oil executives in Venezuela, American oil executives in Venezuela. They have to play this game. So what I'm saying is, you guys can disagree with me. I mean, this wouldn't be the first time. What oil executives? This wouldn't be the first time I was right. I'm arguing that I wouldn't put it past what's the strategy, being that they set up a civilian leader, okay, a civilian leader to represent negotiations for Iran, to appease the United States, and allows the United States to create an amicable relationship. I never said an allied liberal. Yeah, I know what you do. You're good at it, but I never said an ally. Okay, sure. That allows an amicable relationship that allows for the IRGC to maintain their power. Okay, but it also allows for there to be a negotiation buffer between the IRGC and Iran without confrontation and bloodshed.
So they keep their nuclear ambitions, they keep their ballistic weapons.
Of course not. It's an internal arrangement that allows for the normalization.
So you believe that the United States has increased their leverage or
100%
decreased their leverage?
100% increased.
So why is the United States now reaching out to Iranians?
Because it's the same playbook. It's the same playbook. Actually, wait. Okay, I'm saying America's not. 100% America is. American intelligence have been liaising with opposition forces in Iran. How do you think we got our intelligence in the first place?
From an opposition? You're a moron from Mossad.
I'm at least two Iranian generals that are spies for the United States.
Yeah, that's the point. That's what they're called. So
they're not opposition.
They are opposition. They are opposition. That's not how it works. So here's the thing, right, Mamadi? And I'm going to go ahead and mute up because I see the temperature in the room rising a little bit, and that happens when I see you speak. That's okay, but Mamadi, I'll ask you a question. What are you going to say next week when it comes out that there's a civilian leader that's leading negotiations in Iran? What are you going to say then? How stupid I am?
No, I'll eat a pork chop. And
wait, let's look at the civilian leader. He's the leader of the country.
Yeah,
he's a civilian leader.
He's a civilian leader. What do you mean a civilian leader? He doesn't know that.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yes.
He doesn't know.
Yeah, I do know. And you're the one that don't know.
You just called President Diego.
This man knows nothing about Persian culture.
What are we doing here? I thought we got a conversation.
Conversation like it would be a change.
Mama do said.
No, stop calling me that. What's wrong with you, dude? I'm your also a dummy.
Okay, so again, are we going to go back to having a different conversation, or are we going to go back to name calling?
The United States hasn't even put in free internet for the Persian people. The United States hasn't been able to do anything for them at all. What are you talking about?
Imagine calling President Diego, and now you're telling us about the Syrian government.
My lord, give me a second. Let's let TC finish so that temperature doesn't rise in the room. TC, please, just start.
Not even 2 minutes ago when I said it would be a civilian leadership that leads negotiation with the U.S., Monica came off mic screaming and hollering and talking about how stupid TC was. I think I've made my point, and we'll let the conversation go again.
All right. I think the reason that Trump is actually coming back and possibly meeting with these people is probably pressure from the Gulf states who have like zero fucking of their own defenses. They have nothing. They're holiday resorts. They've got a lot of money invested in Washington. They've got close friends there. Dubai, Qatar, all these countries are coming to Washington and say, hey, calm down. You're chasing away all of our trillions of dollars in investment. That's what's happening.
Jesse, I will agree with you, right? And no need for a bet, but I'm interested. So I would agree with you if outcome of this, whatever government is in place, whoever the leader is, if they substantially limit their ballistic program, right, you would be right? I currently don't believe that it's going to be on the table, right? And that will communicate to me that the United States actually lost leverage rather than gained, right? So that would be because if the United States manages to disarm Iran, right, your narrative would be not hope, not a narrative that the United States is going to tell themselves to spin the domestic narrative, but it would be actually true. If the United States manages to substantially limit the ballistic weapons of Iran, I would agree with you. I don't believe it's going to happen.
Okay, great. I love that because that at least creates an environment through this region to see how Donald Trump can be effective in this strategy, right? So I would argue in response to that we don't get there first. What I would argue is we first need to regime change. Okay?
What regime change? Okay, define regime change.
Let me explain. Okay? We first get to regime change, which again is some sort of buffer, call it like tribunal or some sort of like committee, whatever it's going to be, right? I don't know exactly.
Something that is outside of currently existing procedures, some other procedure?
It could be some sort of amalgamation of various different representatives from the region that share the interests. It could be
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm just trying to
what I'm saying is there's
they currently have a process of three people, Pedersen, the lawyer, and the other guy, I forget. They are going to select a new supreme leader. And so they have a process. You need some process outside this process, some other process?
No. We don't have to disagree as often as we used to. This can certainly be the case. But I'm just laying out the case for how it would happen, okay? There's effectively some interim motion that creates an amicable situation between the United States and Iran that allows for there to be a proper installation of a new government that is able to negotiate with the U.S. outside of contentious.
That's what Trump already not doing it. Trump is negotiated with Pedersen. Israel said that they are negotiating with Pedersen without any. Do you think they're going to negotiate with Pedersen on basically?
I'm going to be honest.
Pedersen is the current president. Do you think they're going to negotiation will be you're going to step down and?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. What I'm saying is the play is very similar to what we saw in this is a big
Casey, you're losing me. I'm trying to get specifics, and
I don't have specifics. I'm not going to be able to predict specifics.
Okay, a shape of specifics, like not names of people. There is currently a succession plan, Article 111 of their constitution, through which those three people select a new supreme leader, right? Trump and Israel has already said they are going to be negotiating with Pedersen, who's a civilian, right? He's not IRGC. He's also a reformist, right? So if your constraints on America wins is that there is going to be a new regime, right? Not these people, but they're going to concede that they're going to hold some process with the involvement of Arab states or whoever, and there can be transition to other form of government, right? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is that the way it currently exists, this is an untenable situation for the United States to negotiate with Iran as long as we're on a war footing. And the Trump administration strategy, right? Let me just finish it. And we're not going to have specifics here. We're not even 48 hours out from the initial strikes, right? More than 72 hours out from the initial strikes. So I'm not going to have specifics, right? We're all postulating here. But based on what we can discern from Trump's successful efforts in terms of destabilizing and then stabilizing again, is that he's going to erect an interim government entity. I don't know if it's a committee, tribunal, whatever it is, right? That's going to create an amicable environment for negotiations. Now, what I think could potentially happen, and is also likely, is that we resolve that there will be no more supreme leadership in Iran. And we move forward to pure democracy and able to pretend the democratic model with the president. But it has to be a president that is, again, open to negotiations with the U.S. and Israel, and one that can commit to at least creating a pretext for negotiations.
Okay, so I just want to tease this 1 second, I'll wrap it up. So thank you for teasing that out. You heard the conditions for what TC will consider the amicable solution. Let's see if it materializes. I believe the probability of it not materializing is very low.
So TC, I think Neil making a good point. So right now, as we know, there is this committee comprised of the current president of Iran and the chief justice of Iranian legal system, and also a popular member of the Assembly of Experts. Their job is twofold. One is to provide leadership for Iran in the absence of having the supreme leader, which is now dead. Second is they are being tasked with the responsibility in the Constitution, as Neil correctly mentioned, Section 111, and a leader for the government. So the process itself is kind of in place. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. The whole system is rigged. So outside of this, if U.S. is negotiating with Pezeshkian, who is president of Iran, in what form or shape he is going to get the support from the current apparatus of the Iranian government, or the people actually, to support him, put him in a position that he's going to be able to, in a credible way, to represent the Iranian government and negotiate with U.S. So when we talk about the regime change, it's a good question. What do we mean actually? What is that is all about? Is it doing away completely?
Yes. Yes, doing away completely with the supreme leader. There will be no more supreme. Just to look at your arms around this level. That's my position.
Sure, I understand. So I think if the idea is to have the civilian. I think when I take it, when we say civilian, I take it in a way of separation of church and state, having a civilian which is free from theological.
Yes.
Yeah. That would be a good aim to have. If a leader is going to commit to that and having something resembling our establishment clause in the First Amendment, yeah, that probably makes sense. But I'm not quite sure what this regime change, what we talk about. What is the mechanism actually to bring? Who would replace this current regime? And I don't know. So the question by Neil, it's a good one. I disagree with some of the things that he said. But it's a legitimate question. Legitimate question.
Well, that's why I say, yeah, if he wants to wrap his arms around my prediction, if you will, and use that term lightly, because again, we're all just, speculating here. But yes, kind of
pause. No wrapping arms around it.
Okay, pause. But yeah, I think if you were to try and say
just a quick number.
Yeah, real quick, let me just
10% of the people in Iran work for the government.
I got you. So if you want to lock me down on something, I would say yes. That's what new leadership looks like, not a supreme leader, no new election of a new supreme leader. been on for the last 45 years.
To be fair to you, you started with Delcy Rodriguez, and now you talk yourself into something that is completely different from Delcy Rodriguez.
What I wanted to know, he was President Diego. What I wanted to do was build up a conversation I was having yesterday with you guys, which I did reference treasury days and what happened in Venezuela. What I was saying was, and you guys were in the room when I said it, is the reason why you can't.
When you're talking, the dummy sound. Shut the fuck up.
Alright,
Okay, people don't like when I use TC. I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, please stop engaging in that.
Yeah, for the people serious about having a good faith conversation, neoliberals stated something about the fact that Pezeskian, who brother TC did not know who he was, yet has organs, was a reformist. Now, there's a part where a hardliner swoop in, they have a supreme leader who's a hardliner, and then all of a sudden says, you know what, we're going to stick a middle finger to all these reformists, so-called moderates, and then it's just going to be a government full of hardliners. What is Tate going to do then? And who are we to sit here and tell the Iranians that we're going to dictate what kind of a system they're going to have moving forward?
I would love to see them, Lord. I'd love to see the fucking, their government's horrible. It would literally take like 5-6 European countries, Canada, the United States, a bunch of people 10 years on the ground to kick the fucking, to change their government. The only other hope would be literally every single Iranian person gets on the street and just goes out with sticks and stones and massacres 10% of the population. Those are the only, it's such a horrific situation, bro.
Yeah, and I think you guys get that wrong. You don't need an all-out uprising from the people. All you need is to sufficiently fracture the existing leadership such that
listen, okay, just listen to me for a second, bro. Listen to me for a second. TC, listen to me for a second, very carefully. The United States and various other countries have been trying to do this for 45 fucking years. They've been trying to undermine and destroy the government of Iran for 45 years. I hate the government there. They're evil. It's not that easy when you have literally 10% of the population belongs and is employed by the government. Right? So if you have 1 in 10 people acting as spies, people you can't trust, it's a complete revolution of everything. It's not just what it's like. It's saying like, oh, if you want to completely change the United States of America from ground up, all you have to do is get rid of Trump, right? Imagine that. That's all you have to do.
So what I'm saying,
stop speaking, bro.
This is not an insult to you or anybody else, right? But I do genuinely believe
you're insulting us.
That your dislike for Donald Trump, okay, folks, your
I don't care about Trump. I don't care.
I think you do.
Dude, are you trolling right now?
And I think that's.
Are you fucking trolling right now? Are you trolling right now? Are you trolling? Are you trolling? Seriously. Neil, can you please kill this dude over here? This is insane.
It's not up to me. You see it on the stage. Do whatever you want to do.
So here's another possibility. And this happens quite often. In the military ranks, many times there are coup d'etats. There's a possibility that a very ambitious, high-ranking officer.
I hope you're right.
Coup d'etat. Oh yeah, let me just finish. So it could be possibly an individual military who was more of a kind of liberal leaning and not being necessarily a hardcore Muslim to have a coup d'etat and take over the government for a period of time, which we call transitional period or maybe provisional government, and provide some space and room for people to regroup and decide how they want to move forward. The problem with this approach here, which is possible, I would say, I don't know, but it's possible. It's been done before. But the problem is these generals, they come on board and become leaders of the country. They don't leave, they stay on for decades on. So that is one possibility. So it does not have to be boots on the ground, and it does not have to be 10 years of, kind of a war against Iran with people, the Western countries to be, in Iran. So that's the other possibilities too. But we might be surprised actually what may unfold. I don't know what, but hopefully the less blood, the better it's going to be.
But Ali, I mean, what concrete steps has the United States taken to literally, like very, very concrete steps have they done to support the people of Iran? Because Iran, the people there don't even have internet now. We can't even get them internet.
What concrete support?
Like very specific concrete support.
I'm not quite sure if the United States government really have the best interest of Iranian people in mind.
There you go. It's very sad.
Let me just finish it here. What if, and I think Venezuela is a good example, which TC actually presented here.
Please don't.
What if that an Iranian government now would concede to satisfy the Americans' concern, which is ballistic missiles, nuclear program, cutting out the proxy wars in the region, and maybe cut out the state of Hormuz. If they agree on that, is in principle. So it is, if they agree with that, but they could continue terrorizing their own people. Would America would walk away? So the point that I'm trying to make, Perfumer, that it is possible that probably the interest of having the interest of Iranian people is not necessarily on the top of the list for the American or Western countries, but the other four that I just mentioned probably are more important. And one could say that kind of.
But what steps would they take?
I just don't understand why we're comparing this to Venezuela.
Don't.
They're like two fucking different countries.
So what let me just put the steps that they have been taking is steps that we see now. I mean, Perfumer, he left or somebody.
No, I'm here.
Oh, yeah, okay, good. So these are the steps that we see that the U.S. has taken with Israel. That would be a step in the right direction.
The reason I'm asking is you're from there, right?
Well, look, Perfumer, I just made the point that the freedom of Iranian people from the terrorist activities of their own regime may not be at all on the top of the list of the American agenda for this war. So you are just making a case. So you are still telling me what U.S. is doing to help the Iranian people. Again, that may not be even on the top of the list.
Right. But I mean, this is what Trump was declaring. He's saying, okay, Iranian people go to the streets, you're free now, which is like insane, right? You must agree with me that. How do we actually get guns into the hands of the average person? Because the only people that have guns in Iran are the people that work for the government, right? And that's like 10% of the population, and they're willing and they're free to kill 90% of the people, right? And they will never get in trouble for killing the average citizen, not typically, right? So if you have, and then 10% of the people work for the government, they're the only people with the guns.
The military operation in Iran will continue until, quote, all our objectives are achieved. Could be a month, could be longer. And then he also says there will be more U.S. service members to die. He says that's the way it is. And then he says that America will avenge their deaths. So,
can we have that audio? Can we actually hear it as opposed to just?
I'm reading the transcript. I'm not TC. I don't like you, so if you ask, I'm not going to also play.
Nobody on the stage likes you, right? So
I like you, TC.
This is not related, but it is breaking news. This guy got sentenced to 16 years in prison for attempting to frame an illegal immigrant with death threats against Trump and another 9/11. I don't know if you guys remember this story. This was a story that Kristi Noem at DHS was going around saying that illegal immigrants wanted to kill Donald Trump. Y'all might know if you remember this. And also blow up America. And it was a guy who had a beef with someone who he thought was an illegal immigrant. And they found out that he was a citizen that did it. And they found federal prison. Matt, I can play it if you don't want to.
Yeah, Dan, can you play it?
Where can I find it?
I don't have the pre-recorded the link to it. I just read the transcript. Let me see, where is it at? I mean, this is 5 minutes. Actually, it's on X, the whole video. 5 minutes and 32 seconds.
It just
Some of these other things.
I can play it.
Go ahead, Neil. Thank you very much.
Over the past 36 hours, the United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it. We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now, it was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building, all in a matter of literally minutes. Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. This wretched and vile man had the blood of hundreds and even thousands of Americans on his hands and was responsible for the slaughter of countless thousands of innocent people all across many countries. Last night, all over Iran, the voices of the Iranian people could be heard cheering and celebrating in the streets when his death was announced. The entire military command is gone as well, and many of them want to surrender into saving their lives. They want immunity. They're calling by the thousands. Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. We have very strong objectives. They could have done something 2 weeks ago, but they just couldn't get there. Earlier today, CENTCOM shared the news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more, but we'll do everything possible. That won't be the case. But America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing blow to the terrorists who have waged war against basically civilization. They have waged war against civilization itself. Our resolve, and likewise that of Israel, has never been stronger. America is now, again, the richest, most powerful nation in the world by far. But the only reason we enjoy the quality of life that we do and the freedom and security is we have done things that others are unable to do. But it's because of warriors who are willing to lay down their lives to do battle with our enemies. And they do battle better than anybody. An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be a dire threat to every American. We cannot allow a nation that raises terrorist armies to possess such weapons, would allow them to extort the world to their evil will. We're not going to let it happen. It's not happening to us, and we're not going to let it happen to others. The United States has the strongest military the world has ever seen. I rebuilt our military in my first term. There's never been a military like we possess. And frankly, there's nobody even close, but we are now using that military for good. We want to have it for good purpose. We're undertaking this massive operation not merely to ensure security for our own time and place, but for our children and their children, just as our ancestors have done for us many, many years ago. This is the duty and the burden of a free people.
These actions are right and they are necessary to ensure that Americans will never have to face a radical, bloodthirsty terrorist regime armed with nuclear weapons and lots of threats. For almost 50 years, these wicked extremists have been attacking the United States while chanting the slogan, "Death to America" or "Death to Israel" or both. They are the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. We are the world's greatest and most powerful nation, so we can do something about what they do. These intolerable threats will not continue any longer. I once again urge the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, police, to lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. It will be certain death. Won't be pretty. I call upon all Iranian patriots who yearn for freedom to seize this moment, to be brave, be bold, be heroic, and take back your country. America is with you. I made a promise to you, and I fulfilled that promise. The rest will be up to you, but we'll be there to help. God bless you to our incredible warriors, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
I'm some fucking rocks. I'm gonna say this. If something happens to Charles or Tiffany, who are currently TC, I got something waiting for you motherfucking maggots who are fucking praising this shit. If something happens to my fucking cousins, I will fuck some of you MAGA motherfuckers up. So let's hope and thoughts and prayers together for y'all's fucking sake, bitch. How about that?
I haven't said much on this whole shit. I've just been listening for a couple days, but when you hear him speaking the way he's speaking, all right, some of you guys may have to die, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. All right, I, the 6-time draft dodger, am willing to make. All right, and then directly after talking about the honorable death of soldiers that have shown their allegiance to a country by making all rights, and to follow that up with we're the richest country ever. As if there's a direct correlation. I don't know if you guys follow the logic in that speech writing pattern, right? First we talk about the death of honorable soldiers that contribute fucking lives to this fucking country, right? To their loyalty to this country led to their demise, right? And then we directly correlate that with, but we're the richest country ever. How you, bro?
And I stated the transcript of what he said. What played? He played and said it. He said it. That's what Trump said. He doesn't give a fuck about any of our brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles, relatives, friends, loved ones being sent off and being killed by this disgusting ass, retarded ass motherfucking terror plot him and his butt boy BB are doing in fucking Israel. Who, by the way, I heard left Israel to go hide because he's a pussy. He starts shit and then runs off and hides, right? These motherfuckers don't give a fuck if our family members fucking die. And then you have his sycophants praising this bullshit as if this is exactly what should happen. And by the way, a week ago tweeted, Cuba will be next. This is mentally fucking retarded. These people are so, and I really don't understand why we want to have conversations with them. They are not worth oxygen. They are not worth our thoughts. These people are scum of the fucking earth. If you want a fucking war so bad, a lot of you bitch MAGA need to go fucking enlist. Go take your BB guns and go fight for your king and leave us the fuck out of it. Go fuck yourselves. Total cunt. I'll pass the mic to you. Go ahead, pussy ass fly.
Thank you for that introduction. I was trying to see.
Yeah, fuck you, man, too. You Lebanese white bitch.
I'd like to respond. I hear what you're saying, and I understand it's difficult to speak dispassionately, especially when passions are so. But I think logic requires it, at least in this, because we are talking about dead deceased service members that paid the ultimate sacrifice because they trust their government and they
trust, and you don't give a shit about. And here's the thing, right? I'm with you, but I can be upset and pissed off, and I'm also upset and pissed off when this happened. I was hoping that no service members would have died, and that's not the case. You're not gonna lose your symbol, bro. Keep it up. So, and I was devastated, obviously, when I heard it. It was like, great, this is just like Venezuela. It's working out the way I hoped, and that's not the case. So I share your grief and your pain. But with that being said, we know that former presidents have said the same thing when we engage in conflict. We know it's an inevitability, and this is a job. It's problem.
Shut up, Stacey.
Thank you. Salute to all the veterans for any active duty in the home.
This combat commanders didn't want this to go. So what the fuck is you talking about, TC? Shut the fuck up. You know what? The fact of they plan for this type of shit. If this is what the president wants, they plan for it and they give him the worst case scenario and the best case scenario. But they tell them what their recommendations is. He has been it's been in the papers that they were fighting back and forth. You stupid motherfuckers. And you come off the fucking mic laughing like this shit is funny.
They don't care. MAGA doesn't care.
You goddamn believe that to stay on me.
Keep it in mind.
They don't
Why
care.
are you guys like so hateful? You think that I
They're hateful. He just nonchalantly threw out that American soldiers died. That's just the way it is.
Why don't you
It doesn't matter. It sounded like he was pulling Tupac at that point. It was in the You guys read, come on, y'all read on No New Wars, right? That you got people in administration. Only a president who can't negotiate would bomb Iran. That's it. Tulsi Gabbard, no new wars. The whole thing y'all said, well, one thing Trump did that nobody else did was not get us into new wars.
Kamala will send us under war. They made lawn signs that said Kamala will send your kids to war. That's exactly what they're doing.
What are you talking about? This is a different scenario. You know the operational plan has changed based off what's going on. The current CENTCOM command says this is not the time. You cannot go into that country right now.
Same motherfuckers are.
Come off the mic, Frank.
Oh yeah, Brent, open your mic up. Come on, boy.
Huh? Brexit.
I worked at CENTCOM, Cloud.
So like Brent.
Brent, at this point, they did not want this time.
The same people talking about Benghazi, that talks about Benghazi during Hillary's election, are the same motherfuckers talking about who gives a fuck about 3 servicemen dying, who gives a fuck about people dying in Austin, Texas at a bar, who gives a fuck about more death being on the way. Y'all are some pathetic ass fake Americans.
think, let's say, if all of us, Canada included, likely looks like it's going that way, my country, United States, UK, France, if hypothetically, and it seems this way again, we bomb the fuck out of all the infrastructure, military infrastructure of Iran, do you think, I'm asking from a moral point of view, and you're from Iran, so I'd like to know your perspective, do we have a responsibility to put troops on the ground? And because, I mean, I could just imagine if we bomb the crap out of all the military installations in Iran, and the people, they get brave, and they go in and they try to take their country back, but tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions are killed by their government. Do we have a responsibility to go in there and save them, from your point of view?
Okay, two comments. One is, you mentioned some time ago that 10% of the population, the military, IRT.
That's just the research that not IRTs, I mean government.
Yeah, okay, well, but I checked this out. Actually, the IRGC, which is the most effective, robust military in Iran, they actually constitute only 0.25.
200,000 people,
a quarter percentage of the population. So it's not as if 10 million soldiers with guns.
Right. Okay.
And I know you probably did not mean that, but I think we got to be a little bit careful about what we say here. So, but nevertheless, 200,000 soldiers fully committed to the government with all of the weapons that they need to have. It's a force to reckon with. I don't care how many million people are opposing them. So that's, you're making a point, but the numbers that you gave, they're not good. Now, the responsibility of the United States, I think I talked about three scenarios. One would be basically limiting, postponing, or removing the threat to some extent, not entirely, but substantially. Second would be removing the regime change. And I don't really know what that really means entails. We have discussion here about it. And the third one is nation building, is having, the Western forces going in there for the next 5 to 10 years. And we've done that before. It has not been effective neither in Iraq or in Pakistan. So what is our responsibility to the
that's my question.
So the question is, I don't think that is really on the agenda. When we say we.
No, I'm asking you like a personal point of view.
No, right. I don't know if the U.S. has, let me think about this. I think opportunity, although a difficult one, for the Iranian people to continue what they need to do to remove this regime. I don't think beyond that, what we can do once the new regime is in place. We can help them.
That's why I'm asking for the details, because I hear this all the time from a lot of people. Like, what does that look like? Because Trump said in his speech that that's his goal, to basically change the regime, and that to me looks like leaders of different nations in there rebuilding and troops on the ground.
And you would have to have troops on the ground to do it.
You have to have.
Oh yeah. That's a massive question.
Everybody was citizens, brother.
There's no question you have to have troops on the ground for regime change.
Facts. Did we try that in 1950s? I don't remember the exact, but in the 50s we tried it, and that's what temporarily, right? Because the prime minister was removed, we backed the Soviet off a little bit, we were able to put assets in, buy more oil. Here we go, oil, right? But long term, after around somewhere mid-1970s, late 1970s, to fucking right now, there's been a fucking problem. Right after that, the prime minister was overthrown. We had hundreds of diplomats were snatched up, right? They were kidnapped and held for ransom for a long time at that. I think it was over a year they were held, right? We've already seen the impact that we can have. Right? It's kind of like the terrorists. We tried with the terrorists, when I say we, it's Trump first time. People forget that he tried to put the terrorists first. He failed. He came back and did the exact same shit. Now this has more time, a longer time, same thing. We've tried to do it without putting boots on the ground. You have to have boots on the ground to stabilize everything, right? You can't just expect the citizens to take over and do a military job and overthrow the government. That's not going to happen. We're getting murdered by the fucking thousands. We have to have military pressure.
Very important here that I think is not being taken into consideration. government is the most hated regime in terms domestically compared to any other country.
Where are you basing this on? Your knowledge of all this?
You can Google it. You can Google it.
It's true.
So I can Google over. You know, like a second pork chop you'd be eating, Mama, dude. So let me finish this. Let me finish. So I think that creates a little bit of a difference, Gemini, is that you have a motivated list that have a deep-seated, harbored hate for their government. And such that this is not the first time that they went to the streets knowing full well that's something that has to be taken into consideration. I think it is very likely that with the American military behind efforts on the ground by the citizens of Iran to overtake and overthrow their government, I think the likelihood increases because of those factors.
But just because the government doesn't mean they don't hate us. That doesn't make sense.
I mean, they will literally hate our government more than they hate America.
Also hope, like from a moral point of view, I have a real problem with giving people false hope. I know that TC, I completely agree with you. The vast majority, like I used to live in Vancouver, there's got to be 200,000 persons there. Every single one of them hates their government. There's got to be 1 million persons in Toronto. Every single one of them, every time I've ever talked to any person, except for on this app, people that probably actually work for the IRGC or something like, whatever, they all hate their government. And I just hate to give them so much false hope. And as bad as it sounds, like, I don't want to sacrifice people's lives, but like the war is taking place in their country. It just seems morally wrong to give them false hope and then let them to start to fight against the government and then leave them abandoned and let them get massacred.
Somebody wanted to go ahead. We can go ahead.
Can I? Sure, go ahead. So, hi everyone. Just wanted to a few things here. I've been listening, and I think there are a lot of good points moving around. And I lived 26 years in Iran and moved to US, and I've been living here for another 12 years. So 1/3 of my life here, 2/3 of my life in Iran. And I just want to mention, yes, the government is hated. About like 80% of the people, even the people who are religious, not all of them, they hate this government and they actually blame, the government that people start like not being religious anymore. So that part is true. Another part that I don't hear anyone talks about, which I think will add more nuance why this investment is being made, because I do agree, like Trump or whoever is making this decision, they're not going in for helping Iran or Iranian people. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Why would any country wants to have their state for? It doesn't make sense. But what's not mentioned here is in that region, the whole region, except for Israel, the whole Middle East region, the people of Iran are the single country that the majority of the people are pro-West, pro-US. That's right. And that's the part that is, I don't hear that talked about. So when you look at that, when you look at that, and when you look at the fact that, this is just like an interesting era with China and Russia, and, that's an investment for the US in that region for a country whose people are a natural ally to the US. So that's all I wanted to say. I think that brings some nuance to this discussion.
That's so important. Like the Persian people, every person, tell me this is not true, Lloyd, but they're not religious. Generally, Islam have like an invading ideology into their country. They don't view themselves as natural Islamic people. Like Arabs, their culture begins with Islam. Right? The Persians, they view it as like a recent new introduction to their culture.
I can add more nuance. My family is religious, right? So I'm from this is one of the most interesting 36 hours of my life because I grew up. I mean, have you guys watched Jojo Rabbit? I mean, it's kind of about me. I grew up like wanting to see the sky. I grew up like writing poems for the sky, and now I see him, you know, there, and I'm happy, and at the same time, just like emotional turmoil is going on inside me. And my parents still, you know, are unhappy. Though, like, I mean, I haven't had a chance to speak with them, but like, they see him as still their leader or whatever. But what I'm going to tell you is there is sizable, I don't know the percentage, it's not beyond 50%, it's not below 20%.
Is
the sizable population
is it the younger people versus the a little bit older people?
It's probably not older people, it's rural. No, none of those really. I don't think it's like that in the US. So it's there, we don't know, but there is a sizable religious people in Iran. And part of that it took place, it goes back to the grandfather of Reza Pahlavi, who kind of tried to force Islam out of Iran, and it kind of backfired, and there's like a huge, not right now, but like there is a sizable populace in Iran who are Muslims. And if I look at that, I would say, you know, I don't know exactly, I would say 60% of them are with Iranian people against the regime because they see this regime as kind of like enemy of Islam as well. And there is 50% of them that they're still with the government and they're still religious.
Roy, can I ask you a question real quick?
Go ahead.
So, and this is my understanding, and if I'm wrong, correct me, because I'm not completely solid on that. That's what I'm asking. From what I understand, though, like they have already been very, when I say they, the Iran as a state government has been very suppressive of any protest, like way before this, right? That they would shoot them, execute them, mass imprisonment. Then after they imprison them, do public executions to try to suppress, they would take the internet away so they couldn't really work together, and that they have very strict firearm laws there as well, right?
Yes.
So if we have that, then how could the USA expect an already suppressed group to topple even a weakened state?
So, I mean,
I don't know, see how that plays out.
I mean, I'm not an expert, but I have some theories, and I have been reading about this. Here's how it plays out. First of all, you have to pay attention that, you know, once you see, I mean, so these people who actually perform these like atrocities against Iranian people, these are people as well, right? The reason they're doing this, most of them are not actually because, you know, they like love the regime. They're also poor, and they are also, if they don't do it, they might get killed themselves. And if they don't do it, they might not have income for their family, right? So when they look around, they see Khamenei is gone. They see the overwhelming force against this regime by the US, by other countries,
right.
And they see people cheering. They will mentally be challenged to continue. They will say, hey, things are changing. Let me jump on board. Let me lay down my arm. If you see, Trump says it.
No, I follow that aspect. They're going to be. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So that's what's theory here. I think everyone's theory here is like they're going to be overwhelmed and they want to kind of like jump on board, and people will come to the street, and there is, you know, like kind of common messaging from Trump, Reza Pahlavi, and also Bibi Netanyahu, and that is the plan. Without any boots on the ground, to be able to have a new government in Iran. So that's the plan.
I understood that they're going to be. I understood they're going to be influenced, and I want to be optimistic about it, right? I'm a realist at heart, right? That's just how I'm designed. So that being said, optimistically, everybody, the Americans are helping us. This is our time. We take up arms. We go against the state. We overthrow, right? But if you're poorly armed, poorly trained, already suppressed, facing someone that is used to being your oppressor, this is their role and has been for a long time, it's going to take more than hope and some hopeful words from our president for them to actually, to have the capacity is one thing. To have the want is another, right? I see the want, but I don't see the capacity
Well, I mean, you have to take into consideration two things. The population is huge, right? The comparison is as far as the number. And second, you have to also look at the mental pressure on the other side. I mean, look at those people are poor who actually do this. I mean, these are poor people who do not have any other choice here than them being executed. If they see a chance to be okay, you see Trump keep saying you have immunity because they're poor. I mean, most of these people who are actually doing this, they are not because, oh my God, I love Islam or I love this regime. They have no other choice. This is like a fucked up situation that has created this situation. If you ask me, those people who are actually shooting Iranian, those are some type of victims as well. Not to the same level that those people, those young people who were massacred, but still those are also victims of the situation, and they will put down their arms. So you have to pay attention to everything. So they make the majority or like the overwhelming number of people on one side, and the other side, psychologically, the fact that they are going to see, and a lot of them are going to switch sides. So that's the clue. Sure.
So Roy, thank you for that. Let me just, a couple of scenarios in here. What you just said, you made actually 3 points. The very first one, it is highly possible that an individual could be a Muslim, a good Muslim, or a Muslim, but not necessarily be supportive of the government. I mean, they're not mutually exclusive. There could be separate things. So it's the population of Iran, I think about 95% or more are Shia Muslims, and the religion being there for a long time, 1,400 years, and so it's deeply rooted in the culture and the spiritual kind of way of life in Iran. I think you mentioned about your parents had gone through. So it is possible that the religious people, whether culturally religious or seriously religious, they keep the religion but not be supportive of the government. I think that's true. People often mix this thing, and that's good to separate that. And number two, yes, it is possible that, and it happened before actually, that the soldiers actually shooting at the people, and I'm putting aside IRGC aside for a moment. These are elite fighters being well paid, well trained, and they're fully committed to support, protect the government, Islamic Republic of Iran. So they're not going to be the one actually putting their weapons down. But certainly the rest of the about maybe 1 million people in some form of a kind of function, the police, and they could possibly put their arms down and say, look, we're not going to shoot our own people. And now we understand the times are changing, and our sustenance, it may not come from the government, so there is a hope to the people and of their armed way. But I'm just I just don't know how this is going to unfold. The scenario I mentioned, or let me just around there is a possibility that maybe one or two, perhaps one very strong military who may be more liberal, not having a serious religious tendencies, and also being extremely ambitious to have a coup d'etat in Iran and taking over the government and becoming the leader. That's probably not a bad outcome, except the majority of these types of coup d'etats and generals coming on board, they are very hesitant. At times they just don't leave. They stay on for decades. So that would be another possibility that could happen. So it doesn't have to be black and white in terms of boots on the ground or not. It could be other scenarios that possibly may unfold, and we may be surprised.
Yeah, I so let's go ahead, Daniel. In Iran, right? Why would that not devolve? Because Iran's a really big country. It's got a lot of fucking people, a lot of factions. Even the CIA talks about it. There are a lot of factions that want to take over Iran if the Ayatollah falls. Why do we think that this military coup would be effective at bringing stability?
No, I didn't say that. I'll just say that's one possibility. is that, let me just add here, that when we have these types of situations, not all the time, but mostly, the generals come on board, take the leadership, and they want to go away. We've seen it happen in particularly Middle Eastern countries. So that's an outcome, and brings some stability, actually. But anyway, Roy.
Yeah, thank you. I think when I'm looking at this thing, I have my hope for one scenario, but when we want to kind of see what's going to happen, we get 4 players here are U.S., Israel, people of Iran, and this regime. I don't see any other player. Even China and Russia have backed out. It used to be different, in the last few times that they were uprising, they were more involved. So these are only 4 agencies. And when you look at messaging from US and Israel, they're trying to increase the agency of Iranian people. So that's the messaging that is coming, and the agency of Iranian people started to take place. It's very important, the fact that it is common ground as far as what Iranian people want. What Iranian people want is a transition government shown by what they chant in Iran and Iran. They want this guy, Reza Pahlavi, is the son of the last king, to do the transition power. And if you listen to everything this guy says, there is no, as far as what he presents, as far as a legit transition government. So he's saying all the right things. He's doing all the right things. His messaging is very consistent, right? So when you look at the two power, which is Israel and the US, are trying to give it to the Iranian people, you see that's where everyone is planning to go. Iranian people want it, US wants it, Israel wants it. This is at least what the messaging is. So that's the goal. But there are other possibilities. One possibility is that this regime will be able to sustain against US power and also Iranian people and take control, which I think is very unlikely. Because I know the military power in the US and military power in Iran, they're just not comparable. And another scenario is what you're saying, Ali, which is about kind of this regime kind of forcing to changing itself enough so it would be able to create the possibilities that Iranian people, Israel, and the US will accept it. So US or Trump might be able to walk away because Trump, he wants quick wins. He wants wins that looks good on Twitter. That's what he wants. But we are forgetting about the fact that Israel and people of Iran also have agencies here. And the US have started giving agents to people of Iran. So when we look at these two elements, they're not going to want that. And they're going to want to bring it back to the other, which is Iranian people bring this Reza Pahlavi back for transition government. So if I were to bet, I have been looking at the betting market a lot just as a way of consolidating the news. I would never bet on this, but if I were to bet, I would bet this is around 60-70% off that Reza Pahlavi is going to come and do the transition government. Just by what I'm seeing.
How do we do that when I'm on social media, I'm on several social media platforms, and I'm being bombarded with posts of Iranians that are still chanting "Death to America"? Well, how do we deal with that?
So the way you deal with that is that these are not Iranian people. These are people who have been paid by the Islamic Republic. So, we Islamic Republic to Iran.
You're telling me that they're paying millions of people?
Yeah, they're not millions. These are I don't know, however many they have. They have multiple accounts, and they have AIs.
No. Oh, it's AI. Oh, so it's not people in the street. It's AI.
No. If you have gone to Iran, when you walk into Iran, everyone fucking hates the government. Everyone is pro-you. You don't even need to think about it. If you walk in Iran, so it's so different. They create this. They spend money to create this true at all. And that's why
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said there seems to be a large population of people in Iran that still do not have love for America. So how is that supposed to be done? You're acting like it doesn't exist when it does.
So let me tell you the numbers, right? So there is a guy who does polls in Iran. They call and do this kind of stuff. And he has been doing it every couple of years. And the numbers of people who 12%, right? So 12%, and then the rest, the majority of the people aren't for changing this regime. And there is like 10% who says maybe fundamental change could be the way to go. So these are the numbers that have been calculated.
Out of the numbers that are one second, out of the numbers hold on, I'm talking to him. You just hold on, I'm talking to this gentleman. Hold on a second. Because we're a room of facts and